Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome to the ultimate Cleveland sports show, along with Earl the Pearl, who's in for G. Bush, who's late because G. Bush hits more traffic in Cleveland than anybody I've ever met. We got Jason Lloyd, we got Tyvis, we got Anthony, we got Mike, we got Steve. I mean, I never heard G. Bush. You'd think he was driving from New Jersey to come to work.
Mike, you said he sent you a picture?
That's an AP stock photo picture, no doubt.
I think you ran up on the car in front of him and clipped it.
Here, let me give you let me give you the full detailed breakdown.
Yeah.
So I texted everyone last night saying, hey, need Jim by 10:40 today. We got to shoot a little video for a potential sponsor.
Yes.
Everyone responded, including G last night, saying, gotcha. At 10:27, he texted me and said, hey, 10:40 might not happen. Had to get air in my tire. I said, no worries, all good. 2 minutes later, air pump was broken. Got to find a new one.
I've been there.
10 minutes later at 10:39, he sends me this picture and says the 2 right lanes are blocked. And sends me another one 3 minutes later.
Yeah.
Still in traffic. And then another one 4 minutes later, which looks like he moved 3 inches from the first one to the second one.
Is he on the freeway?
He's coming from Euclid.
Let me tell you something.
He's like 4 miles
Let
away,
me tell you
bro.
something. I'm gonna bust G. Listen, you guys spent the first 10 minutes busting my balls. I thought it was really funny yesterday.
That shit was hilarious.
It was funny with my bad shoes. Yes, you want to show my terrible shoes? I do wear terrible shoes. I admit that. I wish there were Nikes that fit me. I'd wear them.
You gotta have
all right,
wides.
But let me say something about G. Bush, who I love.
Over there.
There's my terrible shoes. All right.
Brooks.
So I love G. Bush. We all love G. Bush. He's the best. He's one of the nicest people literally one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. But I worked in New York, the worst traffic place ever. I don't know, maybe LA is worse, maybe Atlanta's worse now. And I was never late once in 4 years. There was one time it took me 2.5 hours to get to work, and I still made it by 3 minutes.
Well, this was, I think, for G. He probably left.
He left too late.
No, I think he left probably 10 to 15 minutes early because he probably knew he had to get some air in his tire. So when he left, like, all right, give me 10, 15 minutes, that give me enough time, blah, blah, blah. When he got to the one spot and the pump was broke, he was like, oh, shoot. Now I got to go over here, go to this pump. Then, boom, he hit traffic.
For the record,
that's fair.
I drove 2.5 miles on a flat tire to get here. Remember
That's
that?
right.
Blew out a tire on the way here. Drove 2.5 miles on a flat.
I drove on a flat
They got
tire.
a Genesis. Don't they got run flats on them or something like that?
Yeah.
Listen, I produced for G when he was on the radio before he left.
Yeah.
And I used to look up, it'd be like 2 minutes, and G is running into the damn radio station. I'm thinking to myself, man, every damn Saturday I got to deal with this.
Because the man is, like, here he is. The man is jacked up. This is the reason he's late sometimes is because he's up in the middle of the night and then he probably passes out.
So you think he
at like 7, 8 in the morning?
Woke up late?
Yes, of course he did.
He's up recording R&B songs.
We're going to find out.
Yes.
Hey,
Right now, live on the air.
live on the air, bro.
Tell the truth. Did you wake up late?
This is what happened. G. Bush was up all night. He's up all night, and then he passes out eventually because he's so tired. I think that's what happens.
Don't get it twisted. In the microphone, you can hear me?
They can hear you.
Hey, listen, don't get it twisted. Just because DI out of here, don't take anything. That's funny. I still will pass out right here. Don't play with me.
Thank you.
America.
G, I showed the text you sent me, G. I showed him the pictures of traffic.
Oh, yeah,
I said that was a stock photo from the AP.
Listen, I got timestamps.
He said,
I got timestamps.
Oh, my gosh.
He gets stuck in traffic more than anybody. He lives 5 miles away.
I live 5 miles away. This is where you live at. You live in
Rocky River.
Put your mic on.
I live, let me see my list. I live the furthest away. You know how?
Whoa. Okay,
You do the whole city.
Whoa.
Wait a second. I think Jason probably lives further than you. Lives out in Avon Lake.
You get your earpiece.
That's farther than Euclid.
I live in South Euclid.
I drive 112, so I make it here.
Yeah, so you know,
18 minutes.
I live so far away. Jay passes me on the way to work.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Jay passes you?
No, like I pass him on the way to
You
work.
pass him.
Yeah.
You do?
South Euclid from here?
Yeah, no, Chagrin Falls is farther than
Yeah.
Euclid. For sure. 100%.
Yeah. I mean,
Wait, G sent me his address the other day. I'm going to put it in Google Maps. Let's see exactly how far it is. From
yeah,
KYC
exactly.
Give me that. Put that address in
Let's
Google
go.
Maps.
Let's see who's further.
Let's see who lives the
32
farthest away.
minutes.
Let's see who lives the closest. I think
Tyvus is the furthest.
I'm about
Yeah,
to say
we
we
got
ain't.
he doesn't count. You live in a different area code.
I'm here on time. McNuggets told me to be here at 10:40. I was here at 10:38.
Yep.
That's true.
Okay, according to Google Maps,
Yeah.
from this office right here
Yeah.
to G. Bush's house is 32 minutes.
Oh, that is further than I
That's crazy.
thought.
I just said that.
That is further than you, Jason.
No, it's about me. If I'm playing by the rules,
It makes where I'm.
32. Like this is why.
Yeah.
This is why the facts count.
Wait,
like
no,
G. Bush lives in
no.
Lakewood. No.
Yeah.
It's 27 minutes.
27. What was the 34?
I put in Miss Nuggets' address because it was locked in my, Google Maps. My bad. 27 minutes.
Now, in fairness, Jason and I can speed more than G. Bush can.
That is correct.
Because when you're white, you could speed more.
Yeah. Listen. Like they got.
You could take a chance that you'll get pulled over.
how
You're
many
less
how
likely
many
to be pulled
miles?
over.
How many miles is he? I just looked at my address. I'm 24 miles away.
19.8.
Oh, well, but street driving, you're right off the highway. I mean, you're pretty well, not right off.
Not right off.
I gotta drive in the city just to even get
The
to the highway.
east side is more congested than the west. I'll give you
114 miles.
that. 114.
114
What are you,
miles.
if I'm 24, you're probably 18.
It takes me, well,
1 hour
staying a
and
little further away
59
right now.
minutes. 114 miles.
I don't know how you do that, man.
I mean, you gotta move, man. You gotta move. Like you gotta just move, man.
Hey, move.
See, this is why America always keep them receipts, man.
Yeah.
See, you got to hit them up. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take this. Matter of fact, I got the police shots right here. I got these people. I know they had jokes. Stop playing around with your boy.
You know, that's the crazy thing. Like when I was working in New York, I was living in first I was living in Brooklyn for a little while, but then I was living in Bayonne, New Jersey, which is very close to the city. It's not far. And when I say the city, that means Manhattan. So when I first started working at the Fan in New York, it was in Astoria, Queens. That's where it was from its inception in the 80s. But during the time I was there, they closed that studio down. In fact, I was the last person to broadcast from that studio. And then it moved to Lower Manhattan, which was good and much more convenient. So I would say the mileage from my house in Bayonne, New Jersey to the studio just out of the Holland Tunnel in Lower Manhattan was probably 8 miles, maybe.
And you drove? Or
I drove, yeah. And yet it could take me, like if I was on at 2 in the morning, if I was doing a late night show, because sometimes we had shows that start at 2 in the morning, I could get there in 20 minutes. But there was a time once on a Friday where I was on 6:30 p.m. on a Friday, and it took me 2 hours and 30 minutes to get there.
You should have got a bike. You should have cycled through.
I'm not going through a tunnel in a bike.
Point there.
I had to go through a tunnel.
That's
So
fair.
anyway, we got a lot to get to on today's show. After our initial G. Bush craziness, we will. By the way, I was just saying earlier that I will wear Nikes.
Yeah,
but they just don't fit me nicely.
we gonna have to get you.
Maybe I could order them.
You could we could get you the 4s. The 4s is wide up front.
4s pretty wide.
They wide up.
I mean, don't you think I would, of course, rather they got to be comfortable though. I don't. You guys care about how your shoes look. You guys do. Dustin does. Mike. That's fine. I do care. I'd rather have better looking sneakers, but the most important thing to me is comfort.
This is gold. We need to get that and get this. We get that on film. It'll be beautiful.
Yeah,
I will try to get some Nikes.
Are we doing a full bull makeover or just shoes?
We'll start with the shoes.
We'll start.
I'm not doing a
shoes.
full makeover until I lose 100 pounds.
I think you should get a chain.
You know, funny enough, real quick, Mike, when I was in college, if you could believe this, I wore, you would never believe this, I wore hemp necklaces. Would you believe that?
Hey, bro.
I think we saw a picture one time.
Yeah, you showed us a picture.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It looked
And then
good.
when I graduated, I just cut them all off.
Man,
And that was that.
You was on some stuff back then.
No, we
I had an
definitely-
earring briefly when I was like 18.
We will modernize Bull to the 21st century style.
Nah, I'm not doing any
we
modernizing
appreciate
until
you
I
for
lose
being you,
100
Bull. We
pounds.
got a lot to get to today,
Go
though,
ahead.
including some fake Cavs trades. We have Danny Green, NBA champion, drafted by the Cavs, coming on at 12:30. We're going to talk about some of the coach-quarterback connections
All
in this
right.
draft.
I mean, there
But
was
we're
no
gonna
rush yesterday when you were like making fun of my speed and my shoes.
Listen, yesterday's show was chaotic
was funny,
in
it
its
was
own way.
funny.
Not due to anything we could control, if you know what I'm
every
saying.
show
So let's
chaotic.
dive into our topics today. Our first topic is brought to us by Game Time. You guys know going to games in person is so much better than watching them from the comfort of your couch, and Game Time makes it easier than ever to get tickets to your favorite events with their newest feature, Game Time Pick. The feature filters out fluff, showing you only incredible deals on the best seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And what is the get-in price for tonight's Cavs-Hawks game at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on the Game Time app?
Section 215, you can get in for $10 a piece.
$10 a piece. That is a steal. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it, Paul?
Game time.
It was Game Time last night for a
Yep.
couple of Cavs who don't typically get rotational minutes if everyone's healthy. Jalen Tyson and Craig Porter Jr. both played significant minutes and played pretty well in the Cavs' win last night over the Miami Heat. Jason G. Tyvis Bull, we'll start with Jason on this one. Do Tyson and Porter Jr., do they deserve a chance to get some more regular rotational minutes if everyone's healthy based on the way they've played and fill-in duties?
Jalen Tyson, it depends on your motives on this. If your motives are to showcase him for a trade, yeah, play Jalen Tyson.
Yeah.
Because he's looked good so far. Craig Porter Jr., you're not going to build any trade value. Like, he is what he is. And it's a good, we talked about this before. He's one of those margin guys. They found him on the margins. You develop him. You turn him into a rotational piece. That's a win. I'm not downplaying what he can do. But if you're trying to, we got the trade deadline coming up a week away, showcase Jalen. Show teams. He's been impressive to this point for being a late first-round pick. I think they've done a good job in sort of how they've used him. They've used him against the right teams and in the right times. He can do a little bit of everything. He's a good rebounder. He played a lot of different roles at Cal, and I think he could be a good player in the NBA. I don't know that he's a guy you're going to count on. If your goal is to win a championship, and clearly that's where the Cavs are at right now, I don't know that you're going to rely on a rookie. Now, 3 years from now, he could be a really, really good player, but do you want to hold on and wait that long when you have as many limited trade assets as they do? Jalen Tyson could be a nice piece. So, given the injuries that they've had, they're going to be without Dean Wade for a while. Okoro's down. There's certainly a spot for Jalen Tyson. So play him, showcase him, and see if you can drum up any interest in him.
I definitely looked at it like that when I seen both of them out there. I even seen Imani Bates get 1 minute. He was 0 for 1 for trade, but he fired that thing, so that was nice to see there.
I mean, he was looking real active.
Hey.
Lonnie Bates or Bronny James? Who you got?
Come on now.
What are you talking about?
It's a no-brainer.
What do you mean?
Worst player in the NBA?
Worst player in the NBA.
I mean, well, I may not be kidding, but
No.
Anyways,
Yeah.
anyways, no, I think Jason's right. When I seen him out there, first of all, I wanted to see him in Jalen Tyson. I wanted to see him with the starters because this is a first-round pick. And I wanted to see if he developed, since he's been in the NBA, because that's really what it's about. You've seen what he was in college, how since he's been in the league. He's been in the league for what? Where we at? Like 60? No, not 60. We like, what?
50 games.
50 games into
Yeah.
the season. All right, let's see where you at. How much better have you gotten? I mean, defensively wise, you see what he's doing there. We already knew he was a good rebounder, and if Dean Wade is going to be out for an extended period of time, he could come in, and that's what he does. You've seen the Cavs dominate on the boards. I think they had 12 more rebounds than the Heat did entirely. So you got that from him. But to me, he's probably going to, if the Cavs are going to go for a championship run this year and they're going to make a trade, he will be part of that trade. And I think that a team will look at him and say, hey, you got a guy that can can score. He can shoot a three decently. He rebounds. He's a very hard worker on defense. That's something that we can develop over the years. I'm not going to say he's going to be a star on your team, but I think he could be a nice rotational role player on your team for a team that's building up for the future. So I think, like the Nets, they could take him and be like, you know what, he'll be fine. We'll be good with him in about 2 years. He could be a player that we can kind of count on in 2 years. That's how I kind of look at Jalen Tyson. And Craig Porter Jr., depending on what they do, he might be the guy that they shed at the deadline if they decide not to make any moves. So that is what it is.
The word shed is so disrespectful.
That's what it is.
Like you shed dead skin. Like you just like
Shed fur.
Yeah, like you move, like he moved. Like I had to have a problem with that. But now look, man, you need you an El DeBarge in there. Like think about it.
Oh my God.
Like you got to realize, like he has an upside where, like I can compare him to all El DeBarges. Rick Fox, Shane Battier, Roberson back in the day, Cephalosha. All of them dudes got what in common? Hey, I'm going to play defense, and I'm going to shoot an open three. And I got the best hair in the game. Right now,
Shane Battier.
Yeah, that you're right. He was on outside looking in on that one. But I will say this. I like him because I like how he closes out on defense. I like the energy. You can't really bounce past him like that. Listen, to me, as I watch him in about 2-3 years, I feel like he's going to be a starter in this league. In about 2-3 years, he might be in a rotation tough next year. He's going to get more confidence, and this is a win-win situation for the Cavs. You play him and showcase him if you can go get a Cam Johnson, or if they don't want to do that, you get an opportunity to see what you got because Dean Wade is out, Okoro is out, Karis LeVert is out. So now you're going to get an opportunity, and I don't know if you caught it at the end of the game, McNuggets. I was watching. Donovan Mitchell was whispering something to him in his ear. You know when they give you that dap and bring you close to say, it's either y'all switching uniforms.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about all players. You know how they do. Either y'all switching uniforms, you're saying something about some girl that y'all saw, or you about to go pray in the middle of the field. No. And when you whispering like that, you're like, yo, you should be getting more minutes, dog. Real talk.
It depends on how they say it.
Right.
If they do one of these, you know it's something that look, right? And they start talking to you like this, you know it's something serious. They ain't trying to get their lips ready.
Donovan Mitchell had him back here. Come here, my boy. Hey, kid, you keep working. You don't even say stuff like you keep working.
So there's a lot to like about Jalen Tyson. He's been as Jason said earlier, he's been very impressive. I mean, whenever he's gotten an opportunity, he's looked like he belongs. Mm-hmm. Now, how good he is, we don't know. So there's two reasons to play him. Number one is the obvious, which you guys have mostly talked about. He's a potential trade piece that maybe a month or 2 months ago we thought would have no value, and maybe he ends up having more value than any of these other guys who are veterans and you kind of know what they are. There's nobody else on the Cavs that they might trade that you don't know who they are. We know what Karis LeVert is. You know what Isaac Okoro is. I mean, not that their games can't get any better, but they are what they are at this point. Jalen Tyson, I mean, we don't know what his upside is. He might, as G said, he might be a starter. As Jason said, in 3 years he could be an excellent player in this league. Who the hell knows? But the Cavs should be trying to win a championship now. We think they're trying to win a championship now. So if he can, if some team could be intrigued by seeing him over the next week, and that allows them to get a better player than they could otherwise get, then it's huge. On the other hand, if they're unable to make a deal, well, he's got size compared to most of their other guys on the bench. And maybe with some of the injuries they have, who knows? Crazier things have happened. Maybe he can be a contributor when the games matter most. I know it seems unlikely, but you never know with injuries. And so him getting this opportunity now could be valuable if they're not able to make a trade. And if nothing else, if they can't make a trade and they're thinking about bringing in a player with one of those buyouts that happen right after the trade deadline, maybe they don't because they like what they've seen from this kid. Who knows?
Kenny has said on multiple occasions that Jalen's a guy that needs to play with the starters and the real rotation guys to maximize his value currently as an NBA player. Now, if you go back to his career at Cal, when they drafted him, he was the Pac-12's leading scorer last year. He was a shoot-first offensive creator at Cal. On the Cavs, that's not his role. And when he gets minutes with the starters like he did last night, you can see some of the other areas of the game more on display that he didn't show in college because that wasn't what he was being asked to do. And that kind of makes him a more well-rounded player. Like, he has more offense. He didn't shoot the ball well last night, and I thought he was kind of thinking more than just shooting when he had those opportunities. But for the most part, he does all the dirty little things, and I mean that as a compliment. And he's a connector, and he's physical. And I don't know if you got this impression watching the game too, but by having him in the game and Craig Porter Jr., they just felt a tad bit more athletic too. And that's not a knock to say that other guys aren't athletic, but Porter Jr.
Well, it is a knock.
But Porter Jr. is...
No, it's a knock. You can't say it's not a knock if they look more athletic.
Okay,
you say the other guys are less athletic.
Yeah, okay, I guess I'm just saying these guys are a little
more
more
of an
athletic.
observation.
And they're more physical, too. And there's not a stat that necessarily shows that. You could look at rebounds, and they had more steals in Miami, which is something Miami usually wins at in a night-to-night basis. But they kind of changed the nuance and the cadence of how the Cavs played on both ends of the court. And I thought it was a pretty bright thing to see and an encouraging thing to see as the Cavs continue to showcase the absurd depth they have. They have 13 guys on any given night that can play, and you feel pretty comfortable playing.
Go ahead.
All I was going to say is, honestly, when they drafted Jalen Tyson, the first thing I thought of was that he was going to be Isaac Okoro's replacement because essentially he's a pretty decent defender, but he brings that size because he's 6'7",
right?
He's big. He's got good size to him.
And then I said that he also
he's thick, like when you see him,
exactly.
he's
Like you could put him up against some of these bigger swings and stuff, and he can hold his own there. And then on top of that, he crashes the boards, which is something that
he can pass.
All of those things that when you're trying to win, you need those role players that's good at certain things that does the extra things. So you're not just dependent on Evan and Jarrett. You got another guy that can come in there and steal another offensive possession because he gets an offensive rebound and things like that. So I always thought that he would be an Isaac Okoro replacement.
One thing on Tyson, Jason, and then hop in.
Go
but
ahead.
with his physicality, I said this at the time they drafted him. I tweeted it out. He worked out for a bunch of teams, and I had a Western Conference coach tell me he was the strongest guy not named Zach Edey we worked out in terms of basketball strength. And the quote was, dude was strong as an ox. We couldn't get him to move off his spot.
That's good.
Which you see when he plays defense. He may not be 6'9" like some other guys, but bigger offensive players do not move Jalen Tyson. And it doesn't look like he's the most jacked dude in the world, but there's basketball strength and then there's bodybuilding strength.
And he's older for a
like
rookie,
rock.
right? I mean,
he's
he played
21 years old. Jason, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you saying?
No, I was going to say who you play around matters, and what they're asking you to do matters. And right now, the Cavs have such a talented roster, they can put him in positions to succeed where they're only asking him to do certain things. And I know these are two totally different players. Their skill sets are not comparable. But it's almost when Deli was here and Matthew Dellavedova was here, he was asked to do a specific role.
Right.
And playing alongside LeBron.
Guarded Steph Curry.
Yeah, and I mean, and he had one year where he was a really good catch and shoot three-point shooter. And he parlayed that into a really good contract for Milwaukee. And he went to Milwaukee and fell apart because they asked him to do something completely different. They asked him to lead the offense. And that's not who Deli is. So with Jalen, you can put him in spots where you can maximize what he can give you. And he could go to another team and not quite have the same success. But because of the way the Cavs are built, you can put him in spots to sort of maximize his strengths and hide his weaknesses. And now's the time to do that. You got a week left.
Absolutely.
I love that, man. I think about Boobie Gibson, too, like back in the day where, like, Boobie Gibson was not known as, like, a knockdown shooter or something. Like, he just found a nice little role for the Cavs, and he was playing with LeBron, and all of a sudden that was what they asked him to do. So, like, it matters. It matters greatly. I always get annoyed when people say, he didn't do anything with the twos. Man, it's hard to win with the twos because you twos for a reason. It's a whole field full of twos. Like, let me get some love with the ones real quick.
I did, totally off topic, just one throwaway sentence. I did a story one time on the contracts that LeBron earned his teammates. He made his teammates more money than he made in the league. If you look at, like, the Boobie Gibson contract.
Tristan Thompson.
Shump got 40.
JR.
Yeah,
These
Tris
contracts
85.
that people got from playing alongside
Bronny.
him. And
Facts.
But I mean, this was in 2018.
Yeah, I know.
It was wild. The amount of money that he made, everybody else was more than what he made in the NBA.
That's crazy.
Go ahead.
True. That's true. Any final thoughts on this, guys?
They got the Hawks tonight, a team that has a bunch.
Yeah,
of
I'm
gotta
excited
have
about
it.
that.
Must win.
They gotta have it.
Thank you, Tyvus.
They gotta have
Thank
it.
you, Tyvus.
Like
It's about time.
Listen.
Somebody came with that energy.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. Talk
Listen,
to these people.
Y'all on a redemption tour right now. y'all had lost to the Rockets.
They've lost like
Shut it up.
games all
Shut
year.
up. They lost to the Hawks twice.
I wanna hear that,
back
boy.
to back. Where the game at?
Here.
And it's at home.
the crib, under-
yes. Under no circumstances. I don't care who playing and who ain't
all.
playing. None of that.
Gotta have
Under
it.
no circumstances, y'all cannot lose
10-point
this
favorite.
game tonight.
Now,
At
I'll
all.
tell you this. At the end of the
And
year,
it's on NBA TV.
They're 38-9, and you're putting them on a redemption tour?
Redemption
like that.
tour.
I'll say this.
We got to get our lick back. In Cleveland, we believe in getting our licks back.
I will. In the moment, I understand why you think it's a big game. I'm sure
huge.
they'd like to win.
It's huge.
At the end of the season,
Don't
if they're the
diminish-
1 seed, this
Nope.
game is irrelevant. Completely
Because
irrelevant.
what if they get to the end of the game?
Irrelevant.
They get to the end of the season and they
Irrelevant.
lose it by 1 game to the Celtics.
Well,
what
then
you
it
gonna
matters.
say?
He said if they're the
I-
1 seed.
Then that's
But
why.
I s-
You know what?
I
Every game matters, bull. I'm not gonna. This meaningless stuff means nothing
No.
to me.
Hey.
We believe.
Hey.
If you
We
in
believe how to
Cleveland,
fly.
listen. If you in Cleveland and somebody do you wrong, you might wait a whole year before you get back, but you gonna get your lick back. That's just facts. I don't care what nobody say.
The community has spoken. You owe us something. You know, in the hood, we counting on you winning this game. We don't want to see Trae Young running around here with his reverse fade. No, he's not gonna come. You got to
With
get
this
this.
reverse fade.
You got to get this together.
Are you making fun of his hair?
Listen, I just said he had a fade. It was reverse
That
though.
going around? Trae Young's got bad hair?
No, it was just obvious. The fade is reversed.
38-9, best record in the NBA.
I get it, though. The Cavs, the Hawks have had their
Yeah,
number.
I know. They
The
got 'em
problem
twice.
is, what's going on is they're building a recipe out there. You think it's small, and you need to be thinking big. You ain't thinking about the big picture.
Yes.
Jason says it all the time. People cruise their way to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But you know what's going on over them 81, 82 regular season games? Them coaches is back there like, listen, we're going to scheme this up. So right now,
that's
what's
true.
going on is, you be physical with them. If you got some size with them, they ain't got no answer for that. They need to come out here and prove that that's BS.
You cannot let
because the Rockets done out physical y'all, so they ought to put that on tape, and then y'all let these big wings come out there and y'all to put that on tape. So now people think, you know what? The regular season don't mean nothing. When it come playoff time, we know how to beat the Cavs.
Now, that's a different conversation.
That's what it's about.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that's what it's all about.
If you look at the Hawks, the Rockets, and the Thunder, the three
Stirring
teams
the
that have
brew.
been most physical with them, they're 1-5 against them.
Thank you.
Hey.
No Jason Johnson tonight for Atlanta, though.
Well, he out for the season.
Why are there good players
No,
that
he's-
miss every game?
He's out for the season.
Oh, he's out for the season. I
Done
didn't
for
know.
the year.
Oh, my heart goes out.
By the
So for
way,
season-ending injury.
Yeah,
Yes.
on a quick
don't
semi,
care.
Jason, you had a final point. Go
You
ahead.
don't care.
Wow.
Oh, I was just gonna say
Yeah.
there is a book on the Cavs. You can beat them up. Like,
Thank
they're-
you.
Yeah.
They don't take physicality well. We saw that 2 years ago against the Knicks.
Yeah.
And I don't know that anything has really changed. I do think that they're a team that you can get in on.
Right, yes.
But I'm not going to go crazy. And now is it troubling if they go 0-3 against the Hawks?
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit. But Bull's right. If they're the 1 seed when it comes playoff time, the Cavs beat the Knicks 2 years ago in the season series and then lost in the first
from
round.
crushed by them in the
From a
right play.
fan's perspective,
Yeah.
I need to know that the Cavs are not soft.
All right.
Well,
I need to know that.
I hear you.
So far,
They could
they have
win-
not proven
they
to me
could
that they're
win
not
tonight.
soft.
They could win tonight, and they're still soft.
Hey, let me tell you this before we go to break. My dad always told me, he said, listen, you ain't got to be a thug in these streets, but you go into these inner city schools, and I'm going to tell you what right now, if I hear that you getting beat up or getting chased around, I'm going to bring you back here, I'm going to beat you up, and then I'm going to take you back to their house, and I'm going to watch you fight them in the street. I was so petrified. I was like, you know what? I told me and my brother, I said, we're going to jump everybody.
Two quickies, Mike, before we move to football. Number one, we have to spend a couple of minutes either today or tomorrow talking about Adam Silver's
We got
comments.
in for tomorrow.
Okay.
10 minutes.
Because he just,
What'd
like,
he
there's an
say?
easy solution to this, but
10
they're not going to do it.
Shortening the
And number two, real quick.
Shortening the game.
It's insane.
We'll talk about it. We're going to talk about it. We'll talk about
I
it.
won't be here.
Real quick, I heard, did you hear this? That Keanu Reeves, when he did Hardball, the very famous Hardball
Yes.
movie.
Well, we know
G-Baby.
Yeah.
I just heard this morning that he, after they had started shooting for like a week, he took all the kids out for dinner and was like, so they could talk to him. Well, first of all, apparently all the kids were obsessed with The Matrix, and he took them all out for dinner, and then he invited Lawrence Fishburne to the dinner to meet all the kids, and I thought that was
That's really cool.
That is cool.
Nice.
I know it's kind of out of left field, but I thought that was really
he seems
cool.
like he comes off as a really nice, genuine guy.
Yes, he does.
He seems like one of them simple millionaire guys that he just live a simple.
And I
life.
love that I don't mean this is going to come off as maybe an insult, but I don't mean it to. His wife is like looks older than him. I love that he's not like got some like 20-year-old.
He missed out on the opportunity to be with Sandra Bullock. From the train. The train movie Speed.
Yeah.
Apparently he liked her and she liked him, but they never had the conversation.
That's right. It was a bus, not a train.
Whatever.
All right, let's move on to our next topic. Guys, if you're not a member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, we do some crazy stuff in overtime. Today we're going to talk about a little exchange that Trevor Bauer had on Twitter that he got completely dominated by.
By who?
Jason. By the internet.
By everyone.
The internet
This is
awesome. I
Trevor
missed this, and
Bauer
I hate
0.
him.
We're
So
going
let's
to
go.
dive into that in overtime.
All right, good.
You could be and get that daily overtime content if you are a Coaches Tier member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. For $1.99 a month, you can become a Starters Tier member. That gets you the loyalty badges and community members only posts. For $4.99, you get all the same Starter Tier perks, plus the overtime videos, member shoutouts, discount codes, and much, much more. You can become a member by hitting the join button on our YouTube page. Head over and check it out. So we have spent a ton of time, and we will continue to spend a ton of time talking about the quarterbacks in this upcoming draft at the Cleveland Browns. And lately, there have been a lot of ties between certain coaches and certain quarterback prospects. You have the Jalen Milroe, Tommy Rees connection at Alabama. You have the Pat Shurmur and Kevin Stefanski connection with Deion Sanders' son, Shedeur Sanders. There's also now a Deion connection to Bill Musgrove, who's the Browns' new quarterbacks coach, and we found a clip from CBS Colorado of Deion talking about his connection with the Browns' new quarterback coach. Let's play that clip and then let's react to it.
My favorite Super Bowl memory is a guy named Billy Musgrave, who was our scout team quarterback. Great player on his own right, but he played on the scout. We had Steve Young, NFL offensive MVP. Billy worked his butt off, prepared us, really got us right. But he never played because of Steve Young. So during the Super Bowl, we're kicking San Diego's butt. And I go to George Seifert and I say, put Billy in. And he looked at me like, I said, no, man, put Billy in. And he put Billy in. And Billy got to throw a pass and Billy got to play in the Super Bowl. And that's my fondest memory, man. That's really my fondest Super Bowl memory, that Billy got to play, man.
That was Deion talking about Bill Musgrave.
Yeah.
And I just want to, you could react however you want, but I just want to throw this question out there to you guys.
Yeah.
Are we making too big of a deal, not enough big enough deal, or the appropriate level of deal for any of these quarterback and coach connections?
Well, first of all, hold on. The fact that Bill Musgrave and Deion Sanders played football at the same time is almost impossible. Musgrave looks like he's 40 years older than Deion. How did they play football at the same time?
Because black don't crack.
No, there it is. That's fair. That's fair, Tyler. But this is another level right here.
This is a Benjamin Button type
I
stuff.
mean, come on. Bill Musgrave looks like he's like 90.
Well, Deion also got like hair transplants.
I hear
and
you.
stuff
It's
like
just
that,
that looks crazy. But anyway, go ahead. What were you
That's
going
what working for the Browns does to you. It ages
Yeah,
you.
maybe that's it.
What I was going to say is I do think that we are overanalyzing it because, to be honest with you, everybody's looking at that like, oh, because of that connection, they're definitely getting Shedeur. No, honestly, when I heard that clip, you know what it made me think of? Dang, Kevin did a good job of getting a guy like that. You know, to get a guy that can go in there, although he never really played, he understands the game of football. And that's what it's about. Some of the best coaches that I have never played professionally, but they understood what you had to look for. It's about making sure the player's eyes is right, making sure that his technique is right, and things like that. And this Bill Musgrave guy, obviously, he does a great job of analyzing the game of football, and he can communicate to quarterbacks and help people understand what is trying to get done. What that means is if they do decide to get any quarterback in this draft, he will do a great job of helping them understand the game from a different light, and I think that that'll help him shine on Sunday. It doesn't necessarily have to be Shedeur. I respect the coach for being able to coach and be able to analyze the game of football like that and being able to break it down to where you can help a guy like Deion win a Super Bowl and be prepared for a Super Bowl game.
Yeah. Well, You said that we're overanalyzing it. We are not. There are others in the media.
Not
and
when
there
I
are
say
fans.
we, I mean
the idea that
So
any
you
of
are in the media.
no.
the idea that
at all.
any of these connections are why they're going to draft somebody is the stupidest thing ever. Where everybody wants to read something in. I know Jay yesterday said, well, because Myles Garrett, they said Myles Garrett's going to stay forever. That was his reasoning for why they're going to draft Jalen Carter. Jay, I love you. But that makes
Abdul
Abdul
Carter.
Carter.
Yeah.
That makes no sense whatsoever. That makes no sense. Connecting Tommy. The only thing good about those things is that you have a connection to information. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. The Browns are not drafting Abdul Carter because they're keeping Myles Garrett. They're not drafting Jalen Milroe. I'm not saying they might not draft these guys, but that wouldn't be the reason. They didn't hire Tommy Reese to be OC because they're planning to draft Jalen Milroe. That's absurd. And anybody who would think that's the case is out of their mind. And by the way, even if they end up drafting Jalen Milroe, I still will 100% never believe that that was the reason Tommy Reese got the job. Well, does Tommy Reese have some insight on Jalen Milroe?
For sure.
Sure. But that has nothing to do with these connections are ridiculous. We're just looking for things to talk about.
For the record, both Tommy Reese and Bill Musgrave worked for the Browns last year.
Yes.
So unless this is some multi-year conspiracy,
It's absurd.
And by the way, you can't take Jalen Milroe and Shedeur Sanders, or maybe they are. Maybe they are going to take.
I mean,
like,
you
so which
can.
is it? Did they put Tommy in place for
And
for
Abdul
Jalen?
Carter, because,
I mean, come on. This is why I hate draft season. It drives me crazy because it's a nice little storyline. It's fine to see
you
that.
something to talk about.
But do you really think, and by the way, I'm on record. I said last week, if you like Shedeur, if you believe he's the guy, you don't worry about his dad. You don't worry about, just take him.
Yeah.
Just take him. But do you really think the Browns are sitting there saying, well, Deion don't want his kid to come here, but if we go back and we get the coach that he liked 25 years ago, that's going to make everything better, and that's going to make Deion say, oh, well, okay, go ahead, because that's going to be your quarterback. That has nothing to do – it doesn't erase the last 25 years of incompetence by the Browns. That has nothing to do with how Deion would feel about the Browns because Bill Musgrave is the quarterback's coach. It's insane.
There's one more connection we didn't mention, but Pat Shurmur, who's the offensive coordinator at Colorado with Deion and Shedeur, is friends with Kevin Stefanski, and
Yeah, but Pat Shurmur was also the coach here.
well, that's what I
And
was
he
getting.
was terrible, and it ended.
Well, let me just get to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I saw people yesterday online being like, "Oh, they're putting two and two together. The puzzle pieces, the gift."
You have to stop. You have to start ignoring these people.
Yes.
No, I mean, because this
Yes.
is what the Browns community is talking about. But then I mentioned to one of them,
ignoring
do you
these.
think Pat Shurmur, despite his friendship with Kevin Stefanski, would be inclined to give extra information, maybe withhold it from other teams, and feed it to the Browns with the same owner that was there who fired him, and they were
Yeah.
like,
Man,
"Oh yeah, I hadn't
listen.
considered that."
First of all,
Jason
I'm gonna be honest.
Lloyd is over here blinking so tough.
I'm gonna
Like,
be honest
come on,
with
bro.
you. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. If Pat Shurmur is doing something like that, if he's not giving out information,
He's hurting Shedeur.
He's hurting the player, and he shouldn't be coaching because that's messed up
That's
that
not
you're doing
happening.
that to a kid's future.
That's not happening.
That's
By the
dumb.
way, I do have a soft spot in my heart for Pat Shurmur because when he was coaching here, before he got fired, like Dustin and I were, especially me, was killing him, obviously. No. And he asked the two of us to meet with him in his office. And we had a meeting with Pat Shurmur, Dustin and I.
Yeah.
about
And
what
he-
y'all said on the radio.
No, well, not specifically, but he just wanted to meet us and hang. Like, we had interviewed him, but he invited us to his office, and we sat and chatted with him for like an hour. And he was buttering us up to not kill
Yeah.
him, even though he didn't say that
Well,
directly.
more teams and coaches should
More
make it.
coaches
I know,
should do
and I
something.
like that.
So
I
you felt bad that you was killing
No, I still killed him after that because he
Good
did a
for
bad
you.
job. But
Can't be bought.
Wait a
I-
minute.
at
What was
least
his record?
when I was killing him the second year, I felt a little bad about it because I liked him. He was a nice guy, but I still had to do
let me
my
see
my
what
gig.
his,
To Mike's
record
earlier point about so-and-so is friends with so-and-so, these are small, like it's a small world. You don't think that it is. And the NFL is a little bit bigger because the amount of players are bigger and the coaching staffs are bigger and everything. Like the NBA is really, it's small. Even in the NFL though, everybody knows everybody. Everybody's friends with everybody on some level. There's a connection.
Yeah.
Are some closer than others? Sure, yeah. But for the most part, everybody knows everybody.
When you look at it, it's so crazy.
wasn't good.
Even if you have Ryan Day, who is coaching with Chip Kelly, but Chip Kelly used to be his coach and the head coach, and then now it's vice versa. Like, coaching is the biggest fraternity in the world, and they have a very strict code of conduct. That's why people don't fire people during the season.
That's a lot.
They don't listen. I feel like they give them that professional courtesy. Unless you are doing, like, if head coaches very rarely say you're relieved of your duties today, because it looks like you just completely lost institutional control.
It was like 5 teams that did it.
I'm talking about when you talk about the head coaches with assistants.
Oh, okay.
Not the organization.
Okay.
Like, so say for instance,
I got you.
We was calling for Joe Woods. He was like, man, I can't do Joe.
Yeah,
like
I got
that.
you.
Because now the next team gonna be like, dang, you got fired during the year. What was you doing?
No, they don't get fired during this year. They
Sometimes.
You know what? I'm gonna call the plays. We're gonna keep you around,
right?
But I'm gonna take over.
I don't want to do you like that.
Yeah.
It look crazy. So all these connections. First of all, I got out of it. Coach Prime be getting a crazy rap sometimes. He just speak his mind. For him to say he'd have been to multiple Super Bowls, you're a Hall of Famer. For you to say your best memory is he called him Billy Musgrave getting into the game in the Super Bowl is like, I'm like, you got to be a half decent dude to really even remember that, like even to say that.
Right.
So to me,
it was surprising.
To me, that was just a nice little feather in his cap. He gave him that love. Second of all, I'm with Jason. None of that stuff don't matter. You know what they're gonna pick these dudes on? They're gonna pick these guys on whether they can throw the ball and whether they can be that dude. And even if they were not talkative and they even had some character issues or saying things wrong, the thing about the league is they don't care nothing about that. If they feel like they can work with you and they can make you a ball player and you are the best dude, they're picking you no matter what. It don't matter who your cousin is, your 5th grade report card, whether or not you delivered or went to church on Sunday. No, they don't care about that. They don't care about it just don't work that way. It's just a nice little story that we could talk about and give us some headlines to talk about during the season.
I don't blame the fans for reacting that way, but media members should know better. It's ridiculous.
You know that.
When members of the media say stupid stuff like that. It's just silly.
There's been a lot of talk from some prominent media members with the Milroe-Reese connection and diving way too deep on that.
The only good thing about Tommy Reese in terms of Jalen Milroe is that he has some inside information.
Yeah.
But that's not why he has the job. It may potentially be a bonus of him having the job, but he has inside info on all the players, the offensive players from Alabama.
Tommy Reese went to Alabama to coach Jalen Milroe?
No.
Of course not.
He had him for 1 year. He was the OC for 1 year with Jalen Milroe.
And if Tommy Reese went to Kevin Stefanski and said, hey, I can make this kid a superstar, that might hold some weight. I'm not saying that's going to happen.
But they're not going to base the decision on the offensive coordinator.
Not.
The rookie offensive coordinator.
And they, of course, did not hire him for that reason.
No.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't even think he's allowed to talk in meetings. I'm being serious. Like, if I was Tommy Reese, I wouldn't even give him no input.
Of course they're gonna.
Yeah, he would.
They're gonna.
I'm being facetious, but I'm not gonna knock on the door individually. Hey, but I ain't trying to give Kevin no. He didn't. If he asked me what I think, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, we got to get this guy.
I'm sure Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Reese have talked about Jalen
Of course,
Milroe.
the Browns will go to him and say, "What do you think?" He's going to tell them this and this, and they're going to say, "Okay, thanks. We'll take it under advisement."
Yeah.
And that's it. That's where it ends.
That's it. Ain't gonna be no emailing back and forth.
Yeah.
He's not putting PowerPoints together, talking about this what we ran.
And if they look at Jalen Milroe as the 50th best prospect in this draft, and I don't know if they do it like an order that way, but they're not going to take him at 2 just because we have this connection. We might as well draft him at 2. It's just silly. So this is silly season. Everything's GMs say are lies or distortions of the truth.
How does he look? I know I seen the clips from the first day
Yeah.
at Senior Bowl.
That's silly.
Did he
I was
bounce
getting
back?
mad at you for tweeting.
No, I didn't.
For texting our group about because my guy Darryl Ryder's like, it doesn't look good. I mean, he's practicing for the first time with guys he's never played with before.
1 day.
No, the reason I brought it up is
irrelevant,
because I thought I seen maybe a clip yesterday of him completing the pass. So obviously he's working with these receivers.
Completed a pass.
So y'all are sick. y'all missing the point.
You realize what you said though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but y'all missing the point. Like,
What's the point?
His chemistry is getting better because he's with these receivers.
Well, now he knows their names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, but
I think it was Todd McShay, when speaking of Jalen Milroe, since we're on the subject, he said, obviously, his athletic ability is through the roof, and his deep ball, he throws a great deep ball, but his short mid-range game is awful. Obviously, who knows if it can be fixed or not. That was his opinion on the situation.
I always say none of it matters. All it takes is for one owner to be like, I want that
That's
guy.
it. That's
and I remind you that Tim Tebow was a first-round pick.
It's true.
Speaking of,
speaking of
insane.
of that, y'all know I met the homeless guy who told Jimmy Haslam to take Johnny Manziel.
What is that? I thought that was a fake story. That's a real story.
Yeah, I met that
I don't know
guy.
about that. How'd you meet? What do you mean?
When I was doing my autograph signing, he was there.
Really? Or he said it was the guy?
How did you know? It
Well,
was
he
the
said
right
he was.
guy?
He
Is
said
he
he
still
was
homeless?
The guy. No,
Oh, good for him.
no. But he said he was the guy. He said he watches the show too.
Did a lot of people show up for that? Were there a lot of fans?
Yeah, fans.
Nice.
Yeah,
All
it was
right.
actually a nice. Actually, it was better than I thought it would be.
Did he
Denzel
tell the
was
story,
there.
Ty?
Oh, Denzel was there?
Denzel was there.
Was
Yeah.
he friendly?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I was there too. Apparently, they don't like Bobcats.
Oh, you showed up?
I pulled up. They said, hey, man, hey, G, we saw you on UCSS. I said, I'm here for the Bobcats table.
Yeah.
They said, stop playing.
Tyvis, real quick, did the guy tell you the story? Like how it?
No, we was he was just saying like he's like, hey, yeah, I'm the guy that told Jimmy about to get Johnny Manziel. He said I was wrong with that, blah blah blah, and then he was like, I watch the show all the time. I'm a fan of everybody on the show and stuff
Nice.
like that. I can't remember. It's something Eagle. He said he'd be in the chat. Something Eagle.
I
can't
thought
remember
that
what
was a
the
made-up story. I
What the
thought we'd
name
been
is, but he'd be in the
making that
chat.
story
name
up for
Spread?
you.
Maybe.
Spread Eagle.
Maybe that is it. I don't know. No, I'm saying maybe I understand what the joke is, but while you being funny, I think that could potentially be what he said. But it's something Eagle. You funny, bull crazy.
Ty, he told you to spread eagle. That's what he told you.
No, he didn't tell me to spread no goddamn eagle. I don't even play around like that.
Ty walked right into that. All right, guys, let's move on from that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on TCSS. It does wonders for the analytics of YouTube. Hit the like button, the subscribe button. Costs $0.00. And we appreciate it. And thank you guys for making UCSS part of your daily routine. It means a lot.
We need
to
the
us.
help on the back end. Let's go.
Yes. And nope, not gonna make the joke. Not gonna make the
No,
joke.
don't do it.
All right. So the NBA trade deadline is 1 week from today.
Yes.
1 week from today. Next Thursday will be the final day the Cavs can make any kind of trade to improve their roster for some sort of championship run. So I came up with 8 hypothetical trades that I wanted to pitch to you guys. Before I show you any of these trades, and I did send them to you last night, I want to make 2 things very clear. One, I am not saying I would do all these trades. Okay. I am just simply putting a trade out there to see if we can discuss whether or not it helps the Cavs or not, knowing that these are the frameworks of what a kind of deal for a player like this would look like.
So you're already apologizing for your own trade.
No, every time I put fake trades out there, people are like, that's a stupid trade. Why would you do that? I'm
does
just
get hate.
proposing the trade. I'm not saying I would
He
take
tried
them.
to
I'll
cover
even
his
chime in if
tracks
you want.
before he presented.
I'll even chime in on these if
right.
you want my 2 cents on whether or not they would do it.
Okay.
Also, it is worth remembering for all of these trades that as it stands right now, the Cavs are about 1.6 to 1.9, depending on the number, $1 million above the luxury tax at the moment. They are not a first apron team. They are not a second apron team. They are above the luxury tax. If they stay exactly where they're at, the repeat offender clock begins a year earlier than they want to, which can have some serious financial ramifications down the road. Next season, when the extensions to Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell kick in, they are almost assuredly going to be a second apron luxury tax team.
No, I don't think that's true.
Oh,
No. Right now, if you kick the extensions in, they're at $193 million, but that's only with 9 guys paid for. So unless they sign everyone else to minimum contracts.
I thought the same thing, and I talked to our cap guy, and he said no. So I don't know.
It doesn't really matter in the moment. What matters from what you're saying in the moment is that one of the things they would like to do is, in addition to getting better, is to potentially take $2 million off their cap.
That, or my big point is, whether they're first or second, it actually doesn't make a huge difference. it is much easier to make trades when you are not an apron team, first or second, than it is when you are a first or second. Right now, regardless of anything else, they are guaranteed to be a first apron team. Jason, your tax guy may be looking at different projections than I am. The projections I'm looking at have them being right on the edge of a second apron team, but still having to fill 3 roster spots. So I don't know how they would stay under that. But it doesn't matter. First or second apron, much more difficult to make any kind of move with those restrictions as opposed to it is now. So you can make the case that if you're going to make a move, it is a lot easier to make a move with the current situation of just being in the luxury tax as opposed to doing it when you're a first or second apron team.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
just keep that in mind with all these deals. For all these deals, I'll show you the proposed trade. I'll confirm with you by showing you the SpoTrack trade machine that it works financially. Then I'll give you a little realistic versus fun meter so we can see
All right.
does this actually make sense or are we just kind of having fun with this.
Okay.
But the first trade involves Cam Johnson, who has been the belle of the ball of the trade deadline, the apple of the Cavaliers fans' eyes in terms of what is the best win you can acquire.
Yeah.
And in this instance, when I was looking at the potential salaries to match up with the Nets, I actually found it was easier to make this a two-player trade from Brooklyn because getting to just Cam Johnson's salary was a little wonky. So this was the trade I think makes the most sense for both sides if a Cam Johnson to the Cavs trade is going to happen. Cam Johnson and Day'Ron Sharpe, a young big on Brooklyn who's under contract for another 2 years, coming to the Cavaliers in exchange for LeVert, Wade, Tyson, Tristan Thompson, who's just in there to make the money work, and that 2031 first-round pick. You're giving up Tyson and a first-round pick that meets Brooklyn's requirement of 2 first-round pick equivalents for Cam Johnson, and you're switching out Wade and Thompson for essentially Day'Ron Sharpe. The money works, Steve. You can show them the SpoTrack. It all checks out. And on the realistic fun meter, I like Cam Johnson. I think this would be fun. I had it at a 10 out of 12 on the fun meter. On a realistic, it's in that 7-ish range because the Cavs are going to make a move. This is probably pushing all their assets in to get it. Thoughts on a straight Cam Johnson, Day'Ron Sharpe swap for those 4 players and a pick?
If you go and you put them names back up there real fast, this is one of them things where everybody like making trades until you see them names on the board. You're like, wow, okay, Dean Wade is an asset. We've always talked about how the Cavs play better when he's playing. Jalen Tyson, we think he got some upsides. We like that. Tristan Thompson is more of a throwing type guy, but here's one of the things I think you would miss a little bit is Tristan Thompson has a championship pedigree. Tristan Thompson is a dude who really would be a valuable dude during a finals or Eastern Conference finals or a regular finals run. And Karis LeVert can give you that offense. First round pick, I could care less about. That ain't what we in it for. But man, if you would have asked me like a couple of days ago, I'd have been like, yeah, book it, put it in there, and let's do it. But when you see the names, it gives you a little bit of pause. I would still do it, but it's not like a over-the-top no-brainer, I'm just doing it tomorrow type deal.
Honestly, when I look at that trade, do you have, you got Cam Johnson's stats on the season so far?
We do have Cam Johnson.
What is his, how many rebounds a game is he averaging? Because that's the first thing that I see. I see 3 guys on our trade that we giving up. That's Dean Wade, Jalen Tyson, Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, but Jalen and Tristan are not playing in the playoffs.
True. But
Cam's not a great rebounder.
Injuries happen.
Yeah.
Right? And if Cam Johnson goes down and we traded away those 3 guys, who is getting the board outside of Evan and Jarrett?
Well, you're getting Day'Ron Sharpe in that deal.
Yeah, but that's
pretty good rebound big.
Yeah, okay. He coming off the bench, yes. But I for some odd reason, it's just that one part don't say, at the end of the day, would I still make the trade? 100%, I would still make the trade. But I do think that you're giving up some assets as far as on the rebounding goes. That's all I'm going to say.
In the time that these 2 guys have hemmed and hawed about this trade, I've already shipped their asses out of town. This is the no-brainer of no-brainers. First of all, talk about injuries. Dean Wade couldn't stay on the court to save his life. The guy is always hurt. If you can't help the club from the tub, he is always hurt, so forget him. Tristan Thompson, useless. Jalen Tyson, young player, is going to be useless come playoff time. So the only guy of value I'm giving up for the playoffs is Karis LeVert. And this guy's a way better player. So come on.
We said we taking the trade. I literally said I would make the trade. I just, if you wanted my opinion,
I did want your opinion.
Give it up rebound.
It's a little bit.
That's all.
It's actually, to be truthful, some people have it as a landslide. Why would the Nets do that? I think that this is a closer trade than what you would originally think if you look at the pieces.
Excuse me for being an analyst and
tried to make all these deals,
analyzing the entire the goods and the bad. What the
I
heck
tried to
was
make
I
these
thinking?
deals all as realistic as humanly possible. Like, I'm trying to be legitimate here, not fleece any side. Jason, what do you think about that deal?
I actually like that a lot. I really like Dean, but Adam's right. The number one ability is availability, and it's a concern of is he going to be healthy for the playoffs because he hasn't been the last 2 years. And from the Nets side of this, you can live with Dean's injuries a little bit more right now because you're not going anywhere, and he's still a young player and he's still getting better. And I think he's got a year left on his deal after this. Jalen counts as a first-round pick. They do have that 2031. I can't really gauge the value of that because it's so far away. But obviously it's probably going to be an unprotected pick. So, and from I like Day'Ron Sharpe too. Did you say he's got 2 years left? Because I think he's expired. He's restricted after this year. He's a free agent after this year. I think he's a free agent after this year. And I don't know what the Nets' appetite is for him. He's just a backup. But he's young. And again, he could grow into something. So
like a Jarrett Allen?
Jarrett was better.
Very young.
Jarrett was better.
Okay.
But
he's 23 years old for what it's worth.
But how much money do they save on this one? Do the Cavs save?
In this deal, if the Cavs were to make this deal straight up, they also get under the luxury tax.
See, that's the key.
Oh,
so
I'll take that deal.
If you are addressing the wing, you're adding a backup big, and you get under attack, like that is from the Cavs scenario. That's an ideal scenario.
Perfect.
You really think there's a chance that the Nets would make that
trade?
It
depends on how the Nets feel about Jalen Tyson and Dean Wade. I have no idea how they feel about him.
And what else is being offered.
Right. And do you want to wait 6 years for a first-round pick? Like, that's an eternity.
That's forever.
Hey, man, listen, McNuggets, man, that's some front office type. You know what? I see you. You going.
He's great at putting those trades together.
They under the luxury tax. You might want to go ahead and email somebody.
Maybe Kobe wants you to be his assistant.
I don't think Kobe wants that.
Yeah, he does.
Can you imagine if McNuggets became the assistant GM and we ripped him every day for his moves?
Freaking McNuggets. What kind of terrible move is that?
Hey, McNuggets be on some trash, bro. Yeah. Core 4.
All right, next one.
Okay, so that was the Cam Johnson to the Cavs straight up. Yeah. I think Cavs fans need to be rooting for chaos at the deadline. The more chaos that happens with the De'Aaron Fox situation, with Cam Johnson, the Cavs got Jarrett Allen as the third team in a 3-team deal. I think that could actually be one of the ways that they benefit the most.
Real quick.
Yes.
All it takes is one move. Like the De'Aaron Fox thing kind of came out of nowhere. So now you've got Jimmy. Now you've got De'Aaron Fox. It's like a gridlock with, I've seen this before. It's like, all you need is one pebble to move, and then the whole thing. And then
why is that?
Because when this guy gets this guy, now it opens a hole over here. So then all it takes is one move to start a flood of others.
Yeah.
So I'm like the Fox thing is a curve. I didn't. Maybe there was other teams that knew that was coming.
I didn't see it. No.
I didn't know that was coming.
So they fired Mike Brown to appease him, and then
I mean the freaking Kings.
They're like the Browns of basketball.
They picked I can't believe they fired Mike, but they picked De'Aaron Fox and they trade Halliburton to Indiana, and now they're going to be without either one of them.
Right.
But that's whatever.
Yeah. So these next 2 trades are part of 3-team deals. There's a couple other 3-teamers in here, but chaos at the deadline is good for the Cavs because they could end up being the beneficiary in helping facilitate a bigger 3-team trade to get something back of better value than what they're necessarily giving up in assets. Cam Johnson's a guy we mentioned coming to the Cavs. Now, in these next 2 scenarios, Cam Johnson is part of the deal but not coming to Cleveland. The Cavs are a 3rd team in the 3-team deal. In this instance, what would you think if the Cavs landed Obi Toppin as part of a 3-team deal with Indiana in Brooklyn? In this instance, the Cavs get Obi Toppin, the Pacers get Cam Johnson, the Nets would acquire Karis LeVert, Jarris Walker from Indiana, who was a top 10 pick last season. Isaiah Jackson's there just for the money. Another first-round pick, a much earlier first-round pick from Indiana, and 2 second-round picks from the Nets. So essentially Cleveland turning Karis LeVert in 2 seconds into Obi Toppin. This deal also gets them under the luxury tax.
What you talking about? I'm with Adam and the Bull. I'm taking people to Hopkins International. I'm doing shuttle service, and I'm gonna bring you some muffins and coffees.
Yeah.
Obi Toppin. How well is it me? I'm not seeing him every single day, but it seems like he's turned into a viable 3-point threat.
I say he got a jumper now.
He got a jumper right now, don't he?
Obi Toppin can play. He's under contract, and he gives you the big wing athleticism.
That's right. And he's a great defender, isn't he?
Solid. And he's a 36% three-point shooter.
He's serviceable.
He's one of those guys that was a real pain in the butt for us against the Knicks 2 years ago.
He was a pain in the butt for the Pacers now.
Yeah. I like that trade a lot.
I take that trade.
Yeah.
All right, so 2 for 2. Jason, your thoughts on that as a 3-team?
Essentially, it's Obi Toppin for
Caris
Cam
in it too. But what was so Indiana gets Cam?
Yeah, which sucks, giving Cam Johnson to another team.
You're improving the Pacers more than you're improving yourself if you're the Cavs.
Yeah, that's true.
But you have to hope the gap between yourself and Indiana.
I'm not sure what that gap is.
That's fair.
So, I mean, I'm
Good
sorry.
point. I didn't really think about it from that perspective.
One more. I'm sorry. Can I
still
say it
do
one more
it,
time?
You know he got ADD.
Yeah, we'll pull it up.
Jason's having an ADHD moment.
We were talking and it was on the screen. I wasn't really looking at it.
Go ahead.
So Brooklyn, why would Brooklyn do it?
Much sooner first-round pick from Indiana. Jarris Walker was a 7th pick last season. He's actually played pretty well this year.
Yeah.
They get the expiring from LeVert in 2 seconds.
Okay.
They're only giving up Cam and still keeping Deron Sharp in this instance.
It's not bad. It's not like I think that is realistic. Again, like you just don't know what other teams value. If I'm the Cavs, I don't know that I necessarily want to make one of my competitors better because you made Indiana significantly better.
Yeah.
Don't you make your front court better? I think he's an athletic guy, and how much he's going to play?
I don't love Toppin. I just personally.
Did he go to Dayton?
Yeah.
He did.
He played for 4 different high schools, by the way. Oddly enough.
He's been good this year. And he feels the need.
I'd still do it because my thought would be, and I get what you're saying. It's a great point, but Indiana probably could find somebody else to make the trade with. So if they're going to get him anyway, we might as well, get one of their other guys.
Let me ask you this, Big Nuggets, because I'm familiar with Obi Toppin. I haven't, but I don't watch him every day. How would he fit in the Cavs offense? Because I know he's a great dunker. I know he can hit the three. Like, how do you think do you think he can fit in that? I got a spot to be in. I need to continuously move with the motions, set the off-back picks, pop out for threes. Like, you think that fits his style?
I'd be lying to tell you I've watched enough Obi Toppin to have like a legitimate hammered-down opinion, but his profile and his skill set fits alongside either Evan or Jarrett. So, yeah, I think he could be your third big in a playoff series.
I don't know that you're significantly better with Toppin than with LeVert. This feels a little bit to me like making a deal just to make a deal. Now, the flip side is...
Do we get under
It gets you under the tax. Yes,
it gets you under the tax, and Caris is on an expiring, and Toppin's signed for, I think, like 3 more years, 2-3 more years. Yeah. So that's a win. If you like, if the Cavs like Obi Toppin, that would be a reason to do it.
Yeah, he's under contract.
Would you make these first 2 trades if you're the Cavs?
I like the Cam Johnson straight up one more than this.
I do too.
Pacers thing, but at the end of the day, I think I probably would do this one as well.
Yeah. All right, next.
All right, next is another 3-team deal involving Cam Johnson, except this time he's going to the Pistons, not the Pacers. So in this instance, the Pistons get Cam Johnson. I actually ran this by a Pistons guy when they were here the other day, and he kind of liked it. So if it happens, I may have actually instigated this. The Cavs get Deron Sharp and Fontecchio back in return. Fontecchio is a 6'7", 6'8" wing guy who makes less money than Okoro and is a better three-point shooter, not nearly the defender Okoro is. The Nets get Okoro, Tim Hardaway Jr.'s expiring contract, 2 first-round picks from Detroit and 2 second-rounders from Cleveland. So you turn Okoro in 2 seconds into 2 guys, and Sharp and Fontecchio you maybe play in the playoffs, maybe not.
I'm out.
I don't like this one nearly as much as the other.
I'm sure Detroit does like that.
I was scratching my head up. Like, what's Mike doing here? I'd never heard of either of the guys they got.
Again, another one where you're under the tax. So you're helping facilitate to get under the tax.
Cool.
If I'm going to get under the tax, I'm just going to get rid of Craig Porter Jr. Even though I don't love Okoro.
It doesn't work like that because you have to have 15 guys on your roster. So you got to sign someone back.
Yeah.
It's not that easy.
You can't sign a minimum salary guy.
He is a minimum salary guy.
Yeah. Oh, he's minimum?
Yeah, he's not even going to get him. I don't even think he would get him under.
So I could have sworn you said they could jettison Craig Porter Jr.
Tyvis said that.
Yeah, Tyvus said that.
We can't do no Fantecchio, bro. I thought that was like Japanese.
Those
TikTok
guys are both
or something.
slapsies. I don't want those guys.
What's Fantecchio, bro? I'm like,
Just giving the options. Just giving the options.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to the next one. Not a 3-teamer. This is just a straight swap here, Steve. When you get this next one ready, we will bring it up. Nope, that's not it, Steve. Next one. All right.
Here we go.
So the Cavs don't have a ton of size on the wing. Harrison Barnes is a little older, but he does fit the physical profile from what the Cavs are looking for on the wing. He is an expiring contract. Would you give up Strus in 2 seconds for Harrison Barnes?
Ooh, Chris Fedor would love that.
This is a hard pass.
Nah, I don't want
I'm
it.
cool on this one, and I'm cool.
I've never been a Barnes fan. I'm just not a big Barnes
And he's
guy.
well past his prime.
And like
He definitely passed.
to Mike's point, I didn't know he was on an expiring. You got max signed for the next few years. As you climb higher into the tax bracket, and as you start hitting first apron, second apron, it becomes so hard to make moves that you want to be whole. Like, that's why the Suns are struggling, is because they had a lot of holes when they hit the second apron.
Right, so they got minimum salary
You
guys.
want to have as whole of a roster when you get there, because it's so hard to make moves. And you're I'm not a huge Strus guy, but I like him more than Harrison Barnes, and I like the future years.
If you would have asked me this last year, I would have told you, give me Harrison Barnes. But Max Strus kind of been playing better. He's been showing his versatility this year as far as the rebounding goes, the defense we seen a couple nights ago. So, like, I'd rather run it with Max Strus. The Harrison Barnes, he passed his prime, even though his shooting numbers ain't bad.
Both of them have finals experience, but I would take Strus.
And I think the guys on the roster would frown. Like, anybody in the NBA, like, if you trade one of their friends or one of their people in a close-knit group in the locker room, and it's for somebody that's obviously an upgrade, basketball-wise, they could go ahead and they figure. But if you bring him Donovan Mitchell, like, nah, bro.
This also feels like making a move just to
Yeah, like, why we're out. We might as well keep Strus.
Make it a clean sweep. I would not do that either.
Yeah.
It does not get them under the tax either.
Yeah.
So
No,
keep
we
them
cool.
there. All right,
We
we're
cool.
a clean sweep, not doing
Yeah,
this.
We're cool.
All right, before you take this next one, Steve, Anthony Davis recently made a comment saying, I want to play with the center. I'm sick of being the 5 every night. I want to play with a legitimate center so I could be a power forward, at least for the regular season.
What a whiner.
So with that in mind,
Who said that?
Anthony Davis. So with that in mind,
Dwight
I whipped up a
Howard.
deal to get Anthony Davis what he wants
Oh, Lord.
and get Cleveland something pretty valuable. In some people's opinions, this guy has a very wide range of what you think of him.
Bronny.
But in order to get Anthony Davis a center, Steve, let's take this 3-team deal here. The Cavs get Rui Hachimura from the Lakers and Duop Reith, who's a stretch 5.
Love Duop
on a really good contract
Never
from
heard.
Portland. The Lakers get Georges Niang, who fits with only a few teams, but he does fit with LeBron, and Robert Williams from the Portland Trail Blazers to give them
The Time Lord,
legitimate-
right?
Time Lord, yep, to give them the legitimate center to play alongside Anthony Davis. And in this instance, the Blazers, who just give up Williams, who they have 3 centers already. Williams isn't really playing for them anyway. They get Okoro, Jalen Hood-Schifino, who's JSF from the Lakers, who was a first-round pick, who just hasn't really found his way in their rotation yet, a straight lottery ticket essentially.
Yeah.
Christian Wood, who's just there for money, and 2 second-round picks in this deal. So the Cavs would turn Okoro Niang and seconds into Rui and Duop Reith.
Rui, and he's big, right? He's like,
Rui is 6'9" and pretty damn athletic.
I mean, he'd be starting for the Cavs, wouldn't he?
No.
You could either start him or make him your versatile
The
fill-in
Lakers got him
big.
for a second. I never understood that. Washington traded him to L.A. for a
True.
trip.
I would.
This is my favorite of all the deals, by the
I
way.
love that deal. I would definitely
I'm about
do that
to
in a
say
minute.
I would take that deal.
I mean, I'm grabbing him and starting him immediately.
That's my favorite of all the deals.
I've been trying to get him in my mind for about 4 or 5 months. I'm
They
like,
traded him
dang.
for second-round picks.
Lakers got him for a 2 from Washington.
I think it was 2 twos, but yeah.
Was
for-
it
for
2?
Basically nothing.
Washington's not trying to win.
That was what, 2 years ago? That was
2 years ago.
I'd
yeah.
take that deal. And you get a stretch 5?
I mean, I don't even know if Okoro and Niang play. How much are they playing in the playoffs? Those 2 guys.
Depends on the opponent.
Yeah.
I'll say this. It seems like Georges Niang is shooting much better than he did last year.
Playing well lately.
Didn't he have
Is
like
that
15
realistic? That
last
trade,
night?
Mike?
If the Lakers really want to get a center, then yeah, I think that
I mean, the
works.
idea of a 3-team trade coming together like that is probably.
I think Niang gets a bad rap sometimes with Cavs fans
Yeah.
because he was so bad in the playoffs last year. Like
Yeah.
he couldn't make a shot, and like it sucks, but it happens.
Yeah.
But I do think he can help them in a playoff series.
Okay. But you'd make this trade, wouldn't you?
I like Hachimura.
Yeah.
I don't think I love this trade as much as Mike. I like the first one he had up there the best, I think.
I do too.
Or
But-
we get Cam Johnson.
And I think Niang right now is trending in a better direction to play. I think it's going to be hard for Okoro to get back into the rotation. Like Strus is back.
He's got to make shots. Period.
Yeah.
Isaac's got to make shots. In the postseason, you can't play like how many times have we played 4-on-5 with him on the floor?
Yeah.
Right.
That he's got to make shots.
And everybody
He's 2
brings
for
up the
23.
defense, but you're not like playing a small guard for defensive purposes.
No, for him to.
Yeah.
He has to make shots.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
has to make shots.
All right.
So in that one, real quick, you would
Yeah.
do it, Bull?
Yeah.
G would do
Add me
it.
in.
Jason, is that a yes to you?
Yeah, I don't like it as much as you. I don't think, but because I still think Niang can bring them some value in a postseason series, but I would be inclined to think hard about that.
Is
How about that? for
Niang's
answer?
American, isn't he?
Yeah.
I always
from
lean.
Boston.
I always lean foreign player over American.
Georges.
Better fundamentals.
Ty, would you do that one before we get to the next one?
You're
Yes,
just
sir.
racist.
This guy.
All right.
Racist against your own.
I'm racist against Americans.
We mentioned
yes.
this guy yesterday. This is the Jonas Valanciunas deal. He
Yeah.
makes almost identical money to Okoro. It's 10.1 versus 9.9, almost identical money. He is signed past this season, so it's not an expiring. So would you guys do Valanciunas for Okoro and 2 second-round picks? It gives
Yes.
you your big,
Yes.
big.
Yes.
Yes.
Next.
Immediately.
Don't
Yeah.
even need to go into
He is
detail.
one of the most
Yes.
exclusive goons on the planet.
Yeah.
It's
That gives him some
him.
tough.
What's
Travis Kelce's
I meant to look
twin.
up. I meant to look up Valanciunas' contract, and I didn't. What does he have left?
I believe it's 2 more years at $10 million a year.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. That one.
The biggest is him. Aquaman
It
is
is 2 more
second,
years.
and then you got some of them Wagners. Yeah. Those goons. Oh, Sangoon. Yeah, he's
his goon right in his name.
He top 5 goons right now
Sangoon.
moving. Those 5.
Say it.
Those
What about Lou
five-
Dort?
Nah, he's not really a dude. He's
Not-
not really.
not
He's
dude.
not.
He's not as big.
That's true. This is a no-brainer. This one.
My one thing with this deal, because
Yeah.
I brought up Valanciunas to you guys last week off the air saying
Yeah.
I liked it. If you were to make this deal, they're both under contract for 2 more years, so Valanciunas is under contract through 26-27. You're essentially just saying, all right, Evan Mobley, you're officially a 4. And you're not ruining the chance, but you are locking yourself into playing him alongside another big. And Valanciunas can shoot a little bit. It's not like he's a complete non-shooter. But some of my personal favorite lineups with the Cavs have been Evan at the 5, surrounded by more shooting.
Yep.
If Valanciunas is the backup big, you want to lock into that third backup big for the next 2 seasons. He certainly isn't a 4. So that's just one thing you have to consider
All right.
as you move forward.
But I still think you can still put Evan at the 5 in spots just because you have Valanciunas. I just think Valanciunas, we were talking about earlier, I think Valanciunas adds a level of physicality that this team needs.
He
Yes.
cleans up all that.
Yeah. Oh,
he's a
All
goon.
all
He's a
of that.
goon.
Yeah.
That glaring need. All of a sudden, like you got enforcer immediately.
Right. Sangoon pulls that crap again, he's going to kick his ass.
Like I'm talking these screens that he be setting. Listen, these are brick walls, man.
Yeah.
He
Like
hurts Darius and DG he hurts Darius and Donovan every time he plays the Cavs because they
My
run into a screen.
goodness.
You would actually be eliminating 20 chances of him hurting those two
Yeah,
by
yeah.
trading for him.
Right.
and listen, I know he's not a knockdown 3-point shooter, but he's developed some range. Like he's like the highlights of him shooting 11 threes. How many hit in a row? Like he had like 8 threes.
Valanciunas can shoot. He's
Like
not a
like a couple years ago, hit like 8
Yeah.
or 9 threes in a row. Like so, listen, I love this, man. This James is a lot for the Cavs. And if you think about it, now all of a sudden you're like, Evan Mobley can block shots, Jarrett Allen can block shots. They can really switch out.
Yeah.
And now they got this goon coming off the bench that's a Rough Rider. Man, come on, man. Give me that right now.
And Mike, you're concerned about like in the future with Mobley playing like.
Yeah, just
Couldn't
lock
they
him
in
and
the
make yourself.
offseason, if they felt that way, then move Valanciunas in the offseason?
Well, then you're in the aprons, and it's just a lot harder to make that move.
But they wouldn't be in the apron if they get under the cap here, right?
No,
That
they're
doesn't
Oh, they're
fit
going to
into
be
my
the
team.
apron
cap.
either way.
They're an
All
apron
right.
team next
All
year,
right, fair
no
enough.
matter what. So it just in a vacuum
something
for
to
this
consider.
year. In a vacuum for this
Yeah.
year, I
It's a
love the
smart move,
Valanciunas
yeah.
addition. in the long term, I think it makes some other things a little more complicated. Will
All
I
right.
still do it? I think about it. I'm not 100%
You're
sure how I
doing it.
feel.
And plus, I feel like if Mobley continues on this trajectory, you ain't got to worry about who he gonna play with. Like he's gonna add some different things to his game where he can be mobile, he can shoot, he can pass, he can play in multiple positions. I think
I'm not worried about him playing with Valanciunas. Those two can play together in a heartbeat. I'm just saying some of their better lineups have been Mobley at the 5 with 4 wing guys around him. And it's a little tougher to find minutes for that lineup if Valanciunas is your third big.
Playoff minutes. They might have to go game to game. Some games
you give up something to get something, right?
You got to do it, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is the last one. Steve, don't take it yet. The first 6 were all within the realm of realisticness.
Yeah, these are goofy.
I have one I just want to throw out there for pure fun.
Bronny.
We mentioned earlier Anthony Davis said I want to play with the real center, right?
Oh, man.
What if that real center was Evan Mobley? Steve, take the graphic. This will never happen. This is a joke, but we're going to have some fun with it. Anthony Davis and Cam Reddish for Allen, Strus, Dean Wade, Jalen Tyson, and every pick the Cavs could offer for the next 50 years. I don't care.
I'm in.
The starting lineup of Anthony Davis, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and me, we're going 82-0.
And me.
Championship parades year
Well,
after
Anthony
year.
Davis gets hurt.
Let's
hurt
do
a
it.
Where would this put us in the apron?
I actually did the math on this because I'm a psycho. You ready?
Yeah.
This deal it'd be a second apron team next year, but they're already going to be a second apron team potentially next year. So
Who cares about these stupid
cares?
aprons?
Yeah, listen.
Oh, you're going to care when you get there.
Not if they got Anthony Davis.
I don't even wear one when I cook. We don't care about aprons.
Can we force him to shave the unibrow?
Your choice.
Hey, this. Listen. Obviously, the Duke of knee jerk is all over this pick. Like, when you say Anthony Davis and Evan Mobley, my knee was moving up and down. I'm like, whoa, fella.
You know how, like, when you go to the Yankees, you have to shave. If Anthony Davis comes to the Cavs, he's got to.
I did a podcast earlier this week with some of my buddies on Cavs Twitter, and I proposed this trade to them. And I had a 50-50 split. I had 2 guys. My guy Tony and Max said they wouldn't do this trade. And I lost 1% credibility in them for saying they didn't want to give up the depth for Anthony Davis.
Now, Jason,
what are they?
If Jason hates these hypotheticals, and I'm gonna ask you a hypothetical. If Anthony Davis was on the team as constituted, would the Cavs be the prohibited favorite to win the title?
They'd be the favorite.
Multiple times.
They'd be the favorite, yeah.
AD, you make the deal.
AD, Mobley,
Jimmy and Joe's.
Donovan.
You don't win a championship with depth. You win it with stars.
That's right.
I'm just what I'm saying.
Especially if you cut
And the
game to
Cavs
40
have
minutes.
depth, even when they made that trade.
I would do the deal before he even finished. He's Cam Reddish or not.
That's
he's only in there for
absurd.
money. Yeah, I'm doing the deal.
Tell your friends they're knuckleheads.
Yeah,
Great
that's,
dudes.
That's
but
insane.
I'm doing
I don't
the deal.
care.
Now
They're great dudes.
hold on. Now this is crazy.
Yeah.
What if it was the opposite? What if they wanted Evan Mobley?
No.
I'm not trading Evan Mobley. No.
Would you include Darius Garland in that trade?
No, because then you'd have Anthony Davis, Jarrett Allen, and Evan Mobley, which is
It wouldn't make sense.
redundant overkill.
Yeah.
But no,
And you're
Evan
not-
Mobley's untouched. In my mind, Evan Mobley is.
Isn't that funny
essentially
how it's
untouchable.
changed in 1 year?
Right.
No,
And what-
Jason and I were always on the right
That's
side.
true.
of
You
history.
guys were always. The
Yeah.
rest of us are idiots. We would have traded
Yeah.
him.
No, we was just believing what we saw.
Yeah.
All right, we got Danny Green in 10 minutes. Before we do that, real quick, your favorite trade of all the proposed trades.
The first one.
First one.
First, getting Cam
Yes.
Johnson straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done deal.
I thought you had a second goofball trade.
Yeah, I don't like it now. I don't like it as much.
Why? Why just throw it up there?
I don't like it as much.
Now,
we're gonna pass it.
we
Nuggets
haven't
is
told.
embarrassed.
Scared.
In the
It's
case-
Bronny, ain't it?
Now we know Anthony Davis is they prohibitive favorites. How much does Cam Johnson, if they get him, how much does that move the needle?
He's never been on a competitor, right?
No, he played for the Suns. He played the finals.
with the
Yeah,
Suns.
with the Suns.
Oh, God.
He makes them better. I don't know that. I don't know if the Cavs get Cam Johnson that, like, you would say, okay, they're the favorites over the Celtics to come out of the. I don't think that they are. But he makes them better. They're a better team with him.
So does that mean that the Celtics have a larger gap? Because that means the Cavs just got better, but you still not even going to say that they're.
And the Cavs could beat the Celtics in a series right now. I wholeheartedly believe that.
The
I do
Celtics
believe
are the
that.
defending champs. They're going to be the favorite. That's
Yeah.
it. But it's
And-
irrelevant who the favorite
And
is.
I'm
It doesn't
telling you
really
right
matter.
now, I've been saying Milwaukee all year long. Watch the Bucks. Yeah, I know. Stare at me all you want. I know. But they
What about 'em?
They have championship pedigree. They've got an elite player And nobody talks about the Bucks. And I'm just saying, like, they're going to be in the mix.
And, the best part about Cam Johnson, he's under a very reasonable contract for 2 years after this year. So you talk about locking yourself into a player when they go into the second apron that's already under contract. Cam Johnson fits exactly that, which may be the most, not impressive, but the most attractive part of the entire
He makes
Johnson
them
deal.
better. He makes them better, for sure. That's no doubt.
Who's the last guy you'd want to trade off the Cavs besides their big four?
That's a good question.
Not saying you wouldn't trade him in the right deal, but who do you think is the most important Cav besides the big four? Who's the fifth most important Cav?
Ty Jerome.
I agree with that. Are we crazy?
Yes.
Ty Jerome.
I don't know why it seems like this. It just seems like Ty Jerome just comes in and does what he wants.
He plays
like I feel like, and I know it don't seem like that, but it seems like okay, like he comes in and it's like, oh, this floater's going in.
So
this
who you
three's
picking,
going in.
Jason?
That's a good question.
I got to think on that.
There is nobody that comes to mind where I'm like, I can't trade him.
Hold on.
I know that. I'd trade anybody.
For G is Imani Bates.
I was going to say that. Obviously, that's the no-go.
But Ty Jerome is the last guy I'd want to trade. I'm not saying I wouldn't trade him. I certainly would. But he's the last guy of the rest of the team that I'd want to trade.
So you got Evan, Jalen Tyson, Jarrett Allen, Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, Imani Bates, Georges Niang, Tristan Thompson, Ty Jerome, Craig Porter Jr., and Darius Garland. Ty Jerome.
See, this is a really funny question.
Max Strus and Ty
because
Jerome.
it's hard to figure out, A, which one of those would you least likely want to trade, and B, which one of those players get the most trade value?
Karis LeVert.
Like, I don't know who has the most trade value out of those people.
I don't know that any of them have a ton of trade value.
Probably
Jalen Tyson.
Probably Tyson,
Yeah.
because he's a first. And I don't know that he's got a ton of value, but he has played well.
Right.
He's on a rookie deal. He's in the first year. He's a rookie
Yeah.
player. Teams will look at him and say there's something there we can work with.
Yeah.
Jerome would be appealing. Jerome doesn't make anything, and he's playing really, really well.
Yeah.
I think it's probably Jerome, to be honest with you. But that's a good question.
go.
We'll put it up. We'll do it before
right.
Thursday. We give some more thought to it. But I got to get a game time read in. I want to ask you a
get it
question
in.
about something Kevin Stefanski said. Guys, the NFL playoffs are coming to an end with the Super Bowl. And if you've never been to a Super Bowl, I haven't. It seems like one of the coolest events you could possibly go to. And right now, Game Time has the new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to any live event, including the Super Bowl, easier than ever before. It filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on the best seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets, and has the Game Time app up now. And what's the cheapest price you can get into the Super Bowl for with the Game Time app?
It's gone down since the last time we looked. It's $3,500.
$3,500 for a ticket to the
deal.
Super Bowl. What a deal. You can get $20 off if you use the Game Time app and download through the App Store with promo code LOCKEDON. That gets you $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Bull?
It's game time.
Yeah, they took it out of the read. We got a new read for the second hour, and it doesn't ask for
I'm
time
not
maps.
happy about
Disappointing.
that.
Bull, Kevin Stefanski made a comment yesterday to Sirius XM
Yeah.
NFL radio about his offensive system. We're going to play that, and then I have a question to follow up with.
Okay.
When you win 3 games, you didn't do much very well. So we're looking at everything. And certainly, you talk about the quarterback position is important when it comes to winning and losing. We get that. We've had different guys that we've won with. So we believe in our system and that a system that's going to adapt to our best players. And certainly you're thinking about the quarterback position when it comes to that. But for us right now, it's about putting the system in with Tommy, Reese, and this offensive staff and making sure that it's adaptable to whomever we got out there at all of those spots.
Gee, Kevin Stefanski believes in his offensive system. Do you?
I mean, that ain't for once. I mean, it don't matter what I think. It's about the results. Like if like he said, he got 3 wins. Obviously, that's not good enough. Like so, I think that a lot of times it's like, do you believe? I already told y'all. This year, y'all not getting that OG Bush. I gotta see it, bro. I'm not prognosticating. You rewind the tape. When it comes to these, how many yards is this fair? No. I need to see it first. It sound great. It sound good, Kev. I hope it work out for you. Like I said, when it comes to the draft, I can't even have no problem. Whatever you want to do and however you want to move, just make it work. So if this is your new offense or the old offense or the mixed offense, just make it work. Listen, I like the fact that he's being more upfront about what his thoughts are. It's glad to see him mention it and talking about his offense. Everything's not G14 classified. So, hey, look, I don't know what you're going to run. Might be the old stuff, might be the new stuff. Just make it work, man.
You have seen his offense last year, not this year, last year. That's what they're going back to.
In the years prior.
Yeah. So
It's not exactly the same every year.
No,
but
yeah,
it's
the basic principle.
Yeah. Right.
Run the ball.
I think people are confused by that.
Run the ball, play action, boots, hit the tight ends on the over route. But you're going under center and you're working from under center.
Okay, that's great. But he needs some more sauce on that. It can't be that playbook that they had with Houston. They got blown out that game.
So I think that the reason being is you get a young offensive mind like a Tommy Reese in there that comes in there and gives you some of that and changes up things. I think you learned a little bit from Ken Dorsey because whether you liked it or not.
You learned what not to do.
Yeah, but whether you liked it or not, he got a guy like Jerry Jeudy open, and Jerry Jeudy made plays, so you got to see some explosiveness there. So now you know, okay, now I can scheme up some things because he's explosive enough to do these routes. So I think you helped with those concepts there. But do I believe in his offensive system? Yeah, I think the offense that Kevin runs is a very good one because it's very similar to San Francisco. It's very similar to Sean McVay. It's very similar to the Minnesota Vikings. They all run the Green Bay Packers. Everybody runs that under center play action boot thing and got some shotgun off of it. So for me to sit there and say that offense is not successful, well, San Fran was just in the Super Bowl last year. The Rams was just in the playoffs. The Vikings was just in the playoffs. So it works. You got to have the right guys. You got to have the right quarterback that can run those things. Can the quarterback read the defense and be on the same page and see exactly what Kevin wants them to see? I think, to be honest with you, I was sitting as I was driving up here and I was thinking about this question. I was thinking to myself, because everybody's talking about Shador, Cam, Jalen. Which one would you take out of those three? And I started thinking to myself, like, okay, who has been Kevin Stefanski's most successful quarterback with the Cleveland Browns? Who have you looked at and been like, you know what, he's done the best job with the Browns?
Flacco. I think it's Flacco.
Okay, and what did Flacco have? He had the big arm and he had the experience. So if you think it's...
Wait, clarify that question. You're saying that the quarterback played his best football with Kevin, or
No.
Kevin did the best job with the quarterback?
No, what quarterback for the Cleveland Browns under Kevin Stefanski did the best on Sundays?
When did the team look the best?
Yes.
Oh.
Under Baker, 2020.
I would say Baker in 2020. Yeah, I agree.
I think it was Joe last year.
Joe threw 1 million picks. We ignored it because they were winning.
I'm going to. We don't have time to get into this because we got data coming on in 4 minutes. I've got a story coming out tomorrow that's fascinating. I'm going to pump myself
Look at
up.
that. That is what we call
We'll talk about it on the show.
Let me just say this real quick. I know Jay was apparently all hot and bothered about Kirk Cousins. I'm going to tell you something that nobody wants to hear, but this is the truth. The veteran quarterback that the Browns signed this year is irrelevant. There's no veteran quarterback. The goal is to win the Super Bowl, right? That's the goal.
Yep.
There's no quarterback the Browns can add this year that they're going to win the Super Bowl next year. None. Nobody, zilch. Now, if they draft a quarterback
what if
high,
it was Tom Brady,
and that quarterback turns out to be Tom Brady, then maybe in a few years they can win the Super Bowl. The Browns will not win the Super Bowl next year. They don't have the quarterback. It is essentially impossible. So debating Kirk Cousins versus Joe Flacco versus Andy Dalton versus this is the stupidest thing ever, and we shouldn't do it at all. All that matters for the veteran is how they're going to work with the young guy. That's it, or that they can play competent football. Kirk Cousins, to me, is clearly shot. But if he can work with a young quarterback, I don't care.
Did you think Joe Flacco was shot?
No.
Yeah, I thought he was. He played well for 10 seconds.
And
then he got shot.
And then he turned into a pumpkin.
He didn't play well last year.
And by the way, if Kirk Cousins, if Joe Flacco had played the whole season last year, they wouldn't have won 12 games. You know it. I know it. Everybody else knows
I'm just saying.
And you can't win that way. It's not sustainable. And even if you have a season like you did with Sam Darnold, you fall on your face when it matters. In this and in the AFC.
What does this have to do with
He's cooking. He's cooking right now.
He's cooking, but
because
I didn't even finish my point.
Oh, you did? Okay.
he put all the seasoning on too
He
late.
did.
Meals done.
He done went so deep that he got me thinking like, what did I? Yeah,
What was I
pause.
talking about? Yeah.
Pause. He got me thinking like, what did I say that I didn't even remember what my point was. My point was, I was talking about the quarterback play,
right?
And I was talking about that. I was talking about what quarterback was the most successful, and I came up with the two names of Joe and Baker.
Yeah,
and I thought to myself, well, when you look at this draft, because I'm not going off of the veterans either.
Yeah.
That's irrelevant to me. I'm going off of Cam and Shador.
Yes,
and I was laughing because I said, well, Shador probably reminds me the most of Baker, to where Cam reminds me the most of Joe Flacco. Because of the arm talent and things like that.
I think the reason I went down that road is because I think there's this thought from some people that Kevin Stefanski can have great success with any quarterback. That's not true. No quarterback can do that, and no coach can do that. And most importantly, you can't win in the playoffs with an average or worse quarterback. I don't care what system you have. I don't care what you cannot win in this NFL with an average or below quarterback.
That's exactly what I got coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Turnovers are not as punitive as we think they are.
It's so overrated. Yeah, go ahead.
It used to be the standard of if you win the turnover battle, you win the game. That's not true anymore. This stat that it's coming out now, and we're gonna hear more about it. EPA per dropback, I think, is the most predictive stat of success. It's incredible how accurate it is in determining wins and losses. It really is.
I kind of believe you, but Tony Grossi laughed at it. So.
the three worst teams, the Browns, the Cavs, the Browns got the worst quarterback play last year.
Yeah,
it's not even close. And the three worst teams last year in EPA per dropback are the three teams at the top of the draft. Yeah. And you can get there with average quarterback play, you cannot win in the playoffs. It comes down to the playoffs. Come down to does your quarterback beat their quarterback every time he drops back to pass? That's what it comes. And the numbers support all of this. Yeah. You can lose the turnover battle, but if your quarterback wins the EPA dropback differential, you will win the game. We saw it with Buffalo, Kansas City. Buffalo won the turnover battle. They lost the game because Mahomes had statistically a top 10 performance of his career on Sunday. Now yes. It was top 10 of his career. And depending on which metric you look at, it may have been the second best performance.
We've seen it. We watched the teams in the playoffs. Russell Wilson, Sam Darnold. Yeah,
you can't win with those quarterbacks.
That was window dressing.
You can't win.
I was completely out. I saw the way Sam Darnold was looking. His coach was on the sideline like, wow, he just turned right back into a pumpkin.
Yeah, why do you think he said, well, we're going to play J.J. McCarthy? Because J.J. McCarthy might be a great quarterback.
Right.
Not. No, Sam Darnold's not. Sam Darnold's fine.
And, Bull, I think and look, I think some people are just literally, they've been screwed so much when it comes to the quarterback play. When you're arguing over Colt McCoy and Johnny Manziel and Brady Quinn and Derek Anderson and you get to Watson and Flacco. When you start dealing with that, they just at that point don't even want to deal or think about quarterback. It's not that these guys think that Abdul Carter is great or Travis Hunter is a better move. It's you don't want to take a quarterback and have to face whether he's good or not. And that's just part of the game.
Instead, you'd rather have a 37-year-old washed up non-mobile quarterback coming off his worst season of his career. I don't know why anybody would want Kirk Cousins. It's like, well, Joe Flacco played well for 8 seconds, so maybe Kirk Cousins
It's a
will do
safe
the same.
zone.
I mean,
it's a safe zone.
Last thing. If you win the turnover battle, but your quarterback loses the head-to-head, you're under 500.
Not a surprise. When is this article coming out tomorrow? All right.
He dealing
with
with
Trump
Trump
cards.
cards
For us to break it down on the show, Jason.
What's that?
Is it going to be out in time for UCSS?
Yeah, I think it's coming. Like the Times is playing it up, so it should be out like 7 a.m.
All right, man.
Well, we will discuss that in depth tomorrow. Jason
done.
sent me the
It's
list of
scheduled
quarterbacks in terms of their ranking of EPA per dropback, and it confirms something that I had thought previously, which plays into the Browns draft situation, which I'm going to tell Jason after the show. Danny Green's supposed to be with us any minute now. He is not here yet. So let me do our last ad, and then if Danny Green doesn't hop on, I'm going to throw you another topic I have in the back pocket. But yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Do us a favor. It helps us out on the front end, the back end, all of the YouTube world.
back
And if
end
you're
is
not
fun.
already a member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, there's 2 membership tiers for $1.99 a month. You can become a starters tier member that gets you custom emojis in the chat, plus loyalty badges and members-only community posts. The upper tier is the coaches tier. For just $4.99 a month, we get all the starter tier perks, overtime videos, member shout-outs, discount codes for merch, and more. So make sure you become a member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And I think I just got a text from Danny Green who says he's on. So hold on, let me figure out.
All right,
Danny.
we'll figure it out.
And you,
meanwhile, I tell
pass
you
it
guys,
back,
I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I can't wait for spring training because that means baseball's around the corner. And I know everybody's frustrated because the Guardians, as usual, haven't spent a lot of money. By the way, if you didn't see the Ultimate Cleveland Guardian show on Tuesday, Zach had a great line where I asked him about his young son, and he because he just had a baby a few months ago, for those who don't know, and or daughter now. I can't remember. I forgot already. That's how good a friend I am. But he goes. He said the Meisels are making more additions than the Guardians. They're making more transactions.
Man. I don't know, man. I see. This is why people be like, man, G. Bush, you need to stop talking about baseball. And I said, but for me, all I care about is Bazana. I don't like you're the number 1 pick. I don't care nothing about.
He could be in the majors this year.
I just want to.
he will be.
I want to see some glimpses.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
It's up to him.
On paper, the Guardians' line's terrible.
Who's the second baseman now?
Some guy.
To be determined.
Might be you.
Some guy.
Don't say that.
Right. No,
On paper, their lineup is bad.
I ain't got the glove like him in there.
In
but I can
theory,
hit, though.
if by June DeLauder and Bazana are in the big leagues and playing up to their potential along with Manzardo, then their lineup could turn out to
that
be
dude
really
that
good.
you was all on last year, George.
Valera.
They cut him.
Why? Because you was the one. I'm telling you that.
They cut him.
No.
George Valera.
No, he was the top prospect at one time. He can't stay healthy.
They did a favor. By
That's
the way, for those who may have missed it or may care about such minor details, Pedro Avila, who they designated for assignment, cleared waivers. I was surprised by that. And he remains in the Guardians organization.
DeLauder, I think, will be up before Bazana. Do they just want DeLauder to play every day because he's had a ton of injuries too? They just want to get him in the routine of playing 4 or 5 days a week?
If he is great in spring training and exhibition season, he should absolutely start the year in the big leagues.
Well, I see.
And that's a disgrace.
Although they did it with Quan. They started Quan right away.
Yeah.
What we see is Spino.
I think he's finally healthy, but he won't start.
Did he have Tommy John again?
I would make him a reliever. Just make him a reliever. Take some of the strain off.
7,000
I just want to see it.
That dude's arms.
We've been hearing about this for years,
that
too.
dude is smuggling
I'm sick of
basketball.
this, G.
His biceps are that big.
Why is it that they have all these dudes?
It's got to be
We
now.
heard.
And most of them have not panned out to this point.
But y'all don't want to trade nobody. Like, I don't understand.
Who doesn't want to trade? We want to trade.
No, I'm saying like them. They don't want to trade nobody, but we ain't gonna never see them.
They don't know which ones to trade because ain't none of them.
So now
they all lost value.
Jason, you gave me a look when I said they have a terrible lineup on paper. You disagree with that?
No, I don't know what I was looking at.
Oh, I thought you were giving me a look like I was wrong about that.
And are you guys going to get? This is tough. This is crazy because when we first got here, Tyvis, we was like, all right, we got to figure out what's going on with the Guardians. They told us a list of things we should work. We said Gabriel Arias. We were like, I was wondering where
I was never high on him.
Arias was supposed to be that guy.
I'm about to say this man was.
Yeah, you can put Arias on.
I thought he was going to be the guy, and he started getting minutes, and then. And then it turned out that Rocchio. How do you figure Rocchio's the last man standing?
Wait a minute.
If you would have said
was your bold
if you would have said him,
he was my bold prediction. I liked Rocchio. I said he'd be an all-star. I was obviously wrong about that.
He did it.
I'm still not completely sold on him. He's got a lot more to prove.
Is you going to get playoff
He had a good postseason.
He had a good postseason.
He will be their shortstop. Yes. But if he's batting 220 with no power,
he was good in the postseason.
He was very good in the postseason. Hopefully that will continue. We shall see.
Arias, I mean, I know you get sick of hearing it. I do too.
Oh, I don't want to hear
he's
about
still
him.
in the.
He's still in the squad.
I'm not interested in him.
He's still with us?
He can bat 700 in spring training. I won't believe it until he does it during the
If he hits 700 in spring training, you're going to be excited.
The only thing I'm sure about offensively for the Guardians is Jose and Quan. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And Lane Thomas against lefties.
Whoa. What about Big Christmas?
And no, Carlos Santana should be good, but he's like 38. He
Yeah.
can fall off a cliff at any time.
That
Big
hurts.
Christmas.
Your guys, the guys who carried you all year, was Naylor. You had Quan, who was flirting with 400, 100,
Don't even
and
bring
Ramirez.
that up.
Those
And
were
Fry.
your three. And Fry.
And Fry's hurt.
And Fry's hurt to start
Yeah.
the season, and you don't have Naylor
you
anymore.
don't have Naylor, yes.
And it's like, okay.
My bold prediction: Quan gets 400.
Oh, Lord.
There is a 0% chance of that happening.
What did you say? What vote say?
Fry can only DH this year when he comes back, which is not a surprise because he's coming off Tommy John.
Well,
so
then he's
he
not
will
going to play. I mean,
Yeah, he will. He'll DH.
well, I need Kyle Manzardo to play every
He
day.
ain't going to play every day.
That's absurd.
Oh,
That's absurd.
Jason, why you do that?
About
he's-
Big Christmas.
Well, you say that now. If he's playing well, he's going to play every day.
Obviously. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, let's let this play out because Fry's not going to be back for
like June,
yeah.
July, maybe.
So let's see. I mean, maybe Santana's off the cliff at that point, and then Manzardo's.
Yeah.
But they love
But
Santana.
Fry,
Christmas.
Fry cannot play the field this year, so
Okay.
he can only DH.
yeah, but
I know somebody that can.
But Kyle
play.
Manzardo's upside is a million times better than David Fry.
And
So
it's-
if
unless they
Manzardo-
platoon it,
I
Fry
can't
plays against
platoon it.
lefties.
He's got to play every day in the beginning of the season. There's no reason he should be playing every day. And if he's playing really well, then I'm playing him every day.
You
can't-
know what they're going to say. They're going to play Carlos Santana because they feel he's in a gold
Well,
glover.
no, but Carlos Santana and Manzardo can both play every day.
correct.
But I want him to play at all times. This is the third year.
I know, but he is going to play every day at the beginning of the season. Jason's saying
Okay.
when Fry comes
When he
back.
comes back.
But the only way he's losing at bats when Fry comes back is if he's not performing. If he's playing at what his potential is
If he's hitting
capable of,
lefties,
Right.
when Fry's healthy,
yeah.
then you got to figure it out.
Well, by the
know
way,
somebody that crushes
if he's
lefties.
playing well and they start
Christmas.
sitting him against lefties, it's the dumbest thing ever. The only way he's going to get better against lefties is by facing lefties.
I totally agree.
So I don't want to hear about David Fry, and David Fry's fine. Kyle Manzardo's your number one prospect.
No, he not.
Yes, he is.
Big Christmas is.
Big Christmas is not.
No, he's not.
Big
Bizon
Christmas
is probably the number one
Is a
prospect.
flawed player.
Manzardo's not even a prospect anymore.
He's not, but he was their number one prospect. Let's
How
go.
old is
Stop.
How old is Manzardo?
23? I don't know.
Manzardo.
Not sure.
Big
We got
Christmas.
Danny Green
Big
blew us
Christmas
off?
hit the clutches.
No, it's
ball.
an actual. This is VMix. Danny's ready.
Oh.
It's a complete. Never seen this issue before on VMix. So it's not Danny. Danny is ready
So
to
it's
rock.
a computer
We
failure.
just. It's not even a computer failure. The computer's working just to
it's
call.
bummer.
All right, well, it doesn't matter.
So
That's a bummer.
Keep talking
That
guards,
sucks.
but this is not.
Yeah, yeah,
Danny
yeah.
is ready. Do not. This is not a Danny.
Yeah, it's
issue
not his
whatsoever.
fault. Okay.
No, the thing about and I think is it flawed that regular fans think of it like this? Usually, when you get a number one pick in the NFL, those guys we just talked about quarterbacks. They're playing immediately. You get a number one pick in the NBA. Not only are they playing immediately, they're going to have high usage. For baseball, it's like, you draft a guy number one overall, you really rarely hear about it. You don't even really hear about what his skill sets are, and then you kind of forget about it for 3 years.
No, it's getting faster. Baseball prospects are moving faster than they ever
Especially the
have.
college guys, which
Yeah.
Bazana
Yes, especially the college.
is. He should be in the big leagues
What
this
about
year.
the-
If
If he hits, he will.
if the first half of the year he's great in AAA, he'll be in the
here.
majors.
What
in
about the
summer.
one kid from Georgia, the hitter, the 6'6" or something like that, the outfielder? He could play in the. What's his name?
From
Oh, not on the Guardians.
No, not on the Guardians.
Oh, Caglione?
Is
No.
that he went
No.
like number 2 or 3?
no,
Yeah,
I
I
know
can't
who you're
think of his
talking
name.
about. It's not Caglione.
What is his name?
Who was that?
He from
did-
Georgia.
Those
He's
guys,
number
the
2.
guys who were drafted at the top last year, who college guys,
Will they play this year?
some of them will. If
The
they-
pitcher. What about the pitcher? It was a pitcher that was supposed to be good.
Yeah, I don't.
went to
Caglione
Cincinnati.
does both.
Yeah, I think he went to
He was
second
Those
pick in
guys,
Cincinnati.
the guys at the top, if they play great the first half of the year, will be in the big leagues the second half of the
Yeah.
year. As long as they're college guys, not the high school guys.
What is Bazana's comp? Like, what is his? Who is he? Is he
Chase
better at the
Utley.
plate? Is he had a glove? Is
He's got good power. He's small, but he's a little bit Pedroia-ish
Okay.
in that to me. That he's
I think Chase Utley is a comp,
because he's lefty. I mean,
and Chase Utley's a
Pedroia was
borderline
righty.
Hall of Famer.
But Bazana's got a good bat to ball, a lot of power potential. I know we had talked about maybe moving the outfield. I don't think they have any intent
Yeah,
on doing that.
I've heard
he's
some-
a second baseman.
I spoke to somebody who told me they think he's an outfielder eventually, but the Guardians
Bazana?
don't think that.
No, I think he's.
This is just somebody's opinion.
Yeah.
But everybody loves his bat and his makeup.
Yeah, and I mentioned Arias earlier, and Bull yelled at me. All I'm saying is he had a monster winter league that could be worth nothing.
Yeah,
clearly.
Don't care.
But he's in the mix. I think Brito's got a really good chance.
Oh, no, they got rid of Tanya. What am I talking about?
Between Brito, Arias will get a look. Angel Martinez will get a look.
This is all second base.
They could even look at Freeman again back
Freeman possibly.
Angel Martinez, that was my guy.
So I think
they're all temporary. It doesn't matter.
I think they're really high on Brito. And if Brito hits and then Bazan is ready, it's a good problem to have.
What's that pitcher, the big pitcher we got that's in the minors? He got the nickname.
Oh, yeah, Tugboat.
Yeah, Tugboat.
He was in A-ball.
He was in A-ball, so.
He's got a ways to go.
I know, it's frustrating. If baseball's not your favorite sport and you're used to the way football players and basketball players can impact immediately, it is frustrating when you hear about these guys and they're performing in the minors and you're like, well, why can't we see him? Why can't we see him?
How long did it take, Jose to get up and stay up?
I mean, Jose signed when he was 16.
Yeah, Jose was.
And he wasn't even a top prospect.
He wasn't a big prospect, no.
He came through their Dominican Academy.
Sabathia went through quick. But that's rare. These days, guys are moving
pitchers,
quicker.
Them pitchers always kind of.
I think they're moving
Go ahead,
quicker
Mike, can we
because
fix
they're
it?
trained better.
No, but Danny is super. He's going to come on Tuesday at 11:30 now.
Great.
This
Oh,
is
that's awesome.
a complete R issue. We're sorry, Danny.
Appreciate you, man.
He was ready, and
He's a good dude.
I've never seen this issue.
Yeah, I was
before,
looking
so,
forward to talking
really
with him.
good
So
dude.
he's going to come
we'll
on
have him
Tuesday, so
All
we'll
right.
get Danny back on.
Yeah.
We're legitimately sorry for anyone. I know we teased him.
All right,
Teased him that he was coming
well,
on,
our
so
new schedule starts next week, so Jason and G will miss that.
that's a
Gee, what that you only on Monday, Wednesday,
But
Friday?
we're talking Guardians. Let's
see.
keep
Yeah,
the
go
Guardians
ahead.
train rolling
We don't-
because
we
I have
never
no idea
put
what
it
you guys
with
said for the
Tigers?
last 15
I mean,
minutes.
I think we've. I was just saying that it's like it is frustrating because there are no potential great, with almost no exceptions. Like all the great players, football players, you see them in college.
Yeah.
And then it's the pros. There's no in between. Same thing in basketball. I know there's the G League, but the guys playing great in the G League.
The top guys go right to.
Yes, exactly. So you got to think of minor league baseball as college in some cases. But if a guy played college, it's like, well, what does he need more practice? You know,
It is
But
an
it's
adjustment.
because of this. It's because of the contract system in baseball, which is totally flawed.
Well, it is, but it's also an enormous jump even from college to A-ball. Or to double from college to the majors is a massive jump in
right.
pitching.
But here's the thing. Yes, you're right. But I said to you before, if Chase DeLauder is great in spring training, he should start the season in the majors. And you said that won't happen.
That won't happen.
That's only for one reason. That's contract.
That's contract.
And,
Yeah.
and by the way,
But
even
that's two
the-
separate conversations.
That's not a thing that only the Guardians do. Even the big market teams do stuff like that. Not all the time, but they do that sometimes. And it's the flaw in the system, which is why I've felt for years they need to change the system. That players, it should be total years in the organization, not just in the majors, and then it wouldn't matter. Now, guys might get rushed, who knows? But
I think baseball needs to overhaul
everything.
Even the arbitration. I was talking to
I don't understand
I was
it.
talking to a player in a different sport, like a big time player in a different sport, who said baseball arbitration is so messed up.
It's
because
crazy.
you play your ass off for this team, you put up great numbers, and then they try and lowball you, and then they sit across from you and tell you why you suck, and why they only want to pay you this much.
Right. Now, some players
and then
will
you shake hands, and then they're telling you how great you are.
Some players will say, "Hey, it's business." I understand, but there are some players that definitely get offended. by
I
it.
don't think there's very many players who say it's business. I understand. I think most of
Well,
them.
I've heard. Well,
I think most of them get upset.
I just hate. I'm gonna be honest. I hate 99% of the business side of baseball.
Well, yes.
I don't
For
get
example, there was I think it was the first arbitration hearing that got settled yesterday in baseball. It was between the Pirates and this pitcher named Johan Oviedo, who was barely pitched. You know what the money was? He was asking, I don't know the exact dollars, but it was basically he was asking for $1.1 million, and the Pirates offered him $900,000.
It's ridiculous.
To go to arbitration over $200,000 in a $1 billion sport is insane.
But the Pirates ownership,
Yeah.
you want to yell about Cleveland? Pittsburgh's reputation is a million times worse.
Well, because they haven't had the good front office. The only difference between the Pirates and Guardians is the quality of the front office.
Well, it's a pretty big difference because the Guardians win and the Pirates
It is,
don't.
but it's not like our owner has spends any more than the Pirates
But
do.
at least they win.
They should relegate. They should.
I hear you.
They should relegate these dudes just like in soccer. Hey, bro, you want to be a AA team next year? Keep playing around. Not
well,
spending
I'll
no
tell
money.
you, the Dodgers AA pitching staff is better than the White Sox pitching staff. I'll tell you that, 100%. In fact, the Dodgers AAA roster this year will probably be better than half the teams.
So is this a good? If I bet $100 that the Dodgers are going to win 110 games, is that a good bet?
Yeah, I mean they're going to win 110 games most likely. The question is, will they break the record for the most wins?
There's so much variance in baseball with injuries and everything else. I mean, I would bet they probably would 110.
Last year, their whole starting rotation pretty much was on the injured list in the playoffs, and they still won the World Series. Their rotation,
They have 5 number ones.
yeah, I don't know yet that Yamamoto's a number one. He hasn't proven that yet, but
4 ones and a 2.
They got 5 number 1 pitch. Shut up.
Glass now, Sasaki,
Snell.
Those are 3
And
number
Ohtani.
ones. Ohtani,
Yeah.
that's 4 number 1s.
That's wild. And they just got that.
And they got all these young pitchers who they won't be able to have in the big leagues. They'll have them if guys get hurt.
Why can't we get some of them?
They're young pitchers.
Why can't we get? They got 5 number 1s. Why can't
Yeah.
we trade for one of them dudes?
Probably could. Not to mention their 1, 2, 3 in the lineup of Ohtani, Freeman, and Betts, and Teoscar Hernandez in the cleanup spot. Yeah, I mean their team is loaded. Now I heard the Yankees owner complaining about it. Nobody wants to hear from him.
Yeah, shut up.
Think about that,
yeah.
Bull. The Yankees tried out they $500 million lineup, and they got smoked by backups last year.
Yeah.
That series wasn't even
Well,
close.
not backups in the lineup, but yes,
they
backup pitchers. Yes.
backup pitchers. You got smoked. I actually felt bad for the Yankees. I'm like, bro, they Yankees. The Yankees.
No. As much as I hate the disparity, I'd still root for the Dodgers over the Yankees in the World Series, because I don't want the Yankees to ever win again.
I will say this: for having the most plain jerseys of all time, the Yankees and the Dodgers got great jerseys. It's crazy.
Isn't it funny that they don't change their jerseys every other year like all these other teams do?
They just
people get so mad at me, but I get so aggravated. The Browns just changed their color scheme because the product on the field is such shit.
Yeah, right.
So look at the shiny object over here.
Yeah.
We're going to make the orange oranger. We're going to change this. We're going to change. Win. Just win.
That's it.
If you win, nobody cares about the jerseys. When you don't win, you got to do stupid crap like that.
You know what's funny is that yesterday I was listening to MLB radio and they were talking with this guy, Jake Cousins, a relief pitcher who had been with the Brewers, and he went to the Yankees last year. And he had a beard before he went to the Yankees. And they asked him, was it tough to shave the beard? And he was like, I get to play for the Yankees.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Like,
Shave my head.
If you're the Mariners, you're not getting away with everybody has to shave.
Yeah, you're right.
But when you're the Yankees, like everybody wants to play for the Yankees.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Not Ken Griffey didn't.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, I don't know that everybody does. Jose Ramirez don't want to play in New York.
Fine, but you know what I'm saying. There's a lot of guys.
there's a
There's
lot of
more
guys
guys
who
that
do.
want to play for the Yankees than any
don't.
other team.
Yep.
We may hate them, but there's something special about being a Yankee. As much as we may
Yeah, the
hate that.
paycheck.
Yeah,
That's pretty special.
Yeah.
They pay more in New York than they do
Well,
anywhere else.
but Jake Cousins isn't making big money.
And like Bull said, they give you hours of talk time on the radio. You are a big deal. Like people say, you couldn't pick any of the Guardians out on the lineup if you was walking down the street and you saw them.
Yeah.
I bet you they could do that in New York. I bet you they know what you look like.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be I'd have to walk away from that deal. The Yankees said you got to shave your beard.
You'd be out.
I can't. I'm not shaving my beard.
That's all he got. What you mean?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you
I
can't
don't
play
even
for
know
the
what I
Yankees.
look like without my beard.
What are you talking
When's the
about?
last time you didn't have facial hair?
College.
Yeah, I seen some old Tyvus
I had
Powell
like a
highlights.
chin- I had like a
he had a
chin
chin strap.
Yeah.
It was thin though.
You did the thin chin strap?
Yeah.
That's rough.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because that was the first time it connected. Like when it connected, I said, "Oh."
That's a game changer right there.
Real quick,
Yeah.
my daughter was cheerleading,
Yeah.
7th grade game,
Yeah.
and the 8th grade played after.
Yeah.
And this kid on the 8th grade team, I could say the school, right?
Yeah.
Why did I say school?
Yeah.
Berea
Yeah.
Mid-Park has this 8th grader. And AJ had to go against him in football.
Yeah.
Dude is a monster. Full beard.
And
8th grade.
AJ,
beard.
Keep in mind, folks who haven't seen him, AJ, Jason's son, is a monster.
He's a monster. My kid's a monster, but
Yeah.
he's not.
This
but
kid's
he's
even more of a
Is he
monster.
a wrestler?
AJ's a muscle monster. This
Yeah.
kid's just big. And he didn't have a ton of stamina.
Yeah.
And he was defensive tackle, and AJ
Yeah.
was playing guard. And AJ held his own against a kid in football.
Right.
And he walked by at the basketball game, and
Yeah.
AJ's like, that's the guy. Beard. 8th grade. Beard.
You got a
It's
beard?
like, you got to be kidding
I had
me.
facial hair in the 8th grade,
What?
but I didn't have a full beard, though. Yeah,
Oh,
I had a mustache in the
Maybe
8th grade.
goatee, maybe not full beard, maybe goatee.
It wasn't. It was dark. Like my stuff
Yeah.
got dark when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Like the mustache
Hey,
part.
listen,
but
if they
like,
let
hair,
if they let
No.
if they let me get a beard, it's over for everybody.
I didn't get a
Dead.
beard until
You know what?
I couldn't grow facial hair until I was 29.
that's the thing about living in today's world. You can go get that done.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's
Like,
it. Anything that you ever had a desire for, you can make it happen. People that's short
true.
can get tall.
What do you mean you can get tall? How do you get
They
tall?
got surgery for you could do stuff to your knees
That's
to get
insane.
you like 6 inches.
That's crazy.
I'm
You have
good
to be a
short.
lunatic.
They
to do
break
something
your shin and then put a.
Those people are you are mentally
You could be tall.
unstable.
You
if
can
do
see
that.
the
That
world
should
in
be
a
illegal.
whole different light.
That should be illegal. And I'd love to be tall, but that should be illegal.
You can do it, boo. I'm just saying, in
I would
2025, anything that you want, you can do it now.
Except for health care at a reasonable price.
We got super chats to wrap
that.
up the show here. Once again, we're sorry about the Danny Green situation.
It's all right.
Completely out of
These
our
things
control.
happen. Technical difficulties will have Danny Green Tuesday.
And Danny's nice enough.
Thank
He's
you,
going to come
Danny.
back on Tuesday, so we appreciate that
man.
from Danny. We have 3 super chats today, guys. First one comes from Salvatore the 216, who's a frequent super chat. We appreciate
He is.
Salvatore. He says, Bull,
Yo.
can you get into a deep dive about why you and Sean King were discussing filling holes on the bullpen podcast the other day?
I don't remember.
wow.
I don't remember the context of the filling holes.
You and Sean were filling each other's holes?
But whoa.
Oh my God.
What is going on?
That was the question.
All right. Here's what I do remember what we were
Spread
talking about. What I said, I don't remember how the conversation started, and obviously, what's the name of the guy?
Salvatore the 216.
Salvatore has made it untoward. But what we were talking about, something that drives me nuts, is when the draft happens, and then you got whatever dope is covering the draft on ESPN or NFL Network. They're like, well, the Browns have just filled their hole at linebacker, right? You know, they say that all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That drives me nuts. The guy has not played a game in the NFL. The guy that guy's replacing, Mel Kiper said the same thing about him 3 years ago. But he stunk. You don't fill a hole
Hey, you're right. Yeah.
until you are actually a good player in the NFL.
holes, man.
Draft grade. Here's the only time we do draft grades is the day after the draft.
That's it.
When it makes no sense.
Like
0 cents.
It's just about, did your team get a name that everybody knew?
Yes.
And if you get that name,
It's so
and they're like,
dumb.
oh my God, and then it'll be like, listen, do you know that the guys that you picked, unless you're a first or second round pick, there's a 60% chance you're getting cut regardless.
Is Denzel the last good Brown that people was like when they drafted
Last
him?
first round
everybody-
pick?
No, period. That they drafted that you thought to yourself, you know what, that guy's gonna be good in the NFL, and you was right. The Browns.
That whole draft pick.
Yeah.
Is that the last time?
Chubb, what year did they get Chubb? Did they get
That was the same year.
draft.
So,
18.
yeah, that was it.
That was the last. So
Baker, Denzel,
Nick
Chubb.
Chubb is probably the last Brown that we drafted that everybody was all in favor of.
No, I mean,
That
nobody
guy's
knew
gonna
who
be-
Nick Chubb was when he got here. It'd be Denzel.
So Denzel was the last Browns player drafted that everybody was
I don't
like,
even
that
know
guy's
that
gonna be
everybody
good.
was on.
that
thought he
was
going to be
that was
good.
18.
The majority.
No, because people wanted Bradley Chubb in 18.
That's true. That was a.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
It did. Yeah, we were talking about him a lot.
And
Yeah.
G-Dub said that the reason he didn't get the pass rusher is because we wasn't covering. So you need somebody to cover to therefore let the pass.
I love Chubb. I thought he was. I'm like, wow, they got him in the second round. That's crazy.
Because he had come off the injury.
Yeah, he
I'm
had
trying to think who was the
So was Jed 19?
JOK.
Jed was 20.
I thought everybody liked
JOK. You're right.
JOK.
You're right.
JOK.
JOK.
In the second round, I said,
people were
oh,
excited about that.
People was excited
People
about
were.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What
we
year
were
was
excited
that?
about
What year was he?
21, 20.
JOK was 21, correct.
I'll give him that. They
Next super chat from
Yeah.
Salvatore the 216 again, who says, true or false, Naylor stays consistent with former Cleveland players excelling once they leave. He wins MVP, has a deep playoff run with career-high stats this year.
False. And by the way, that's overstated. Who were the former Cleveland players that have played great?
CeCe Sabathia,
Cliff Lee.
Cliff Lee.
First of all.
You say who? Victor Martinez.
No. Well, That's a totally
Yanner
different situation.
Diaz.
That I'm thinking of guys like, well, I guess Josh Naylor would be in that category. I'm more thinking if that's your example, that's stupid because those are all double-digit years ago. We did make a big deal, myself included, that in 2023, after not really giving them a chance, both Will Benson and Nick, what's his name? From the Rockies. Nolan Jones both had good years in 23. They both completely cratered last year to the point where Will Benson might not even make the Reds. I don't even think he's going to be on the Reds roster. Nolan Jones will be on the Rockies roster.
Would you say we officially lost the Lindor deal?
Yeah, but you're almost always going to lose a trade when you make that kind of trade. I mean, that trade was, yeah.
Last super chat comes from Jeffrey Anderson.
What happened to Halim Youssef? He used to give us super chats all the time. We haven't heard from him.
I actually talked to Halim yesterday. So I talked to him yesterday.
Who's this guy?
This is Jeffrey Anderson.
What's up with his debit card, bro?
Jeffrey says, and this was a question from earlier in the show, didn't G and Bull have a weight loss challenge about a year or so ago?
Yeah, that failed.
That was like 2 years ago.
Obviously, that hasn't worked for us.
Yeah.
That has not been a big thing on our platform, maybe as you can tell. Mm-hmm. But even though I just look a little smaller. Like if I stand up, like I'm kind of slim on the sides, but my cheeks, they still big.
We got a very fun topic in overtime. Trevor Bauer tweeted something, and then got roasted for it online.
Good.
I'm going to show you some of the best responses.
He's a widely known
in
D-bag.
overtime. Become a member. Coaches tier. We'll see you in about 2 minutes.
Peace.
Peace.